the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580 or go to elitepower.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4084.
These phone lines are lit.
Grant, it means the world. You know how I feel about you. I love you.
Your voice in Sacramento. So happy to hear you on the airwaves. I appreciate you, but what you're doing is inspirational, man.
It's the Grant Napear Show every weekday, 3 to 6 on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Nothing like talking to Grant Napear, the original bad boy of radio.
That gets me pumped up.
Sacktown in the blood. And he's back with his own every day, 3 to 6 on his brand new home.
This has always been your show.
Welcome home, man.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Hello, Sacramento. Sacktown. And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been? You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
Good afternoon. Very happy that you're here on the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento. Have we hit rock bottom? Kings fans, I'm asking you the question, are we at rock bottom? How many times have I asked that question? Too many. Where do we go from here? What has to happen? The answer to me is very, very clear. And last night on the post-game show over on my YouTube channel, if you don't like that, in the last 5 minutes of the show, I read a text message from what I believe to be a dad talking about how his 11-year-old son told him he did not want Kings gear and did not want to go to a Kings game for a Christmas gift this year. An 11-year-old boy. And I talked about that on my post-game show. And then I received other messages from other parents, which just blew me away, saying that they also had a young child and they also did not want to go to a game anymore. Do you know how bad things are when you have a young one, a young boy, a young girl who have loved putting on their Kings jerseys, have loved getting their Kings gear on Christmas morning or for Hanukkah or whatever the case may be, and they have that big smile on their face and they put that shirt on, that jersey on right away. That was Christmas morning at my house every single year. Every year. Every single year. Every year my boys would get a certain jersey, a Kings gear, and they absolutely loved it. They even slept with their Kings gear on. Now, in 2025, I'm getting messages from loyal Sacramento Kings fans. Fans that used to go to the games with their moms and their dads, who now want to do the same thing with their children. And their children are saying they don't want to go? Seriously? Are we to that point right now? And so there's a lot to digest here. There really is. And what I'm going to say is not based on the fact that the Sacramento Kings were humiliated last night, quit on their team, quit on you, quit on the coach, quit on the entire organization. Because unfortunately, we just saw this a couple of nights ago against the Atlanta Hawks, and we saw it against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we've seen it already too often this year. And we've talked about this in the past. And we've got coaches that are fired. We've got general managers that are fired. The Kings are the laughingstock of the NBA. You had the coach last week in Doug Christie criticize members of the media, maybe me, I don't know. A lot of people thought his comments were directed at me. Criticize the fans and those that are not on board with what's going on. Well, Doug, I hate to let you know this. There's nobody that's on board with what's going on. Nobody. Okay, the Sacramento Kings are a colossal failure and embarrassment. So this opening is for really the owner of the Sacramento Kings and Vivek Ranadive. I said this last night on my show, and for those of you that did not watch last night's show over on YouTube or see my clip that I put out of 4 minutes on X, let me tell you where I'm at with this. And I want to start back in 2013 when Vivek rode in on his white horse, and he was there for Sacramento when Sacramento needed that. He was there, and he will always be remembered for being the man that came in and basically said, I'll do it. I'm the guy. Okay? His place in history is cemented, and as bad as things are now, and as embarrassing as things are and have been, I want to put that out. That shall never, ever be forgotten. Okay? But here's the problem. When we all celebrated in opening up Golden One Center, Vivek Ranadive said, this is your team. Well, I would agree with you on that. The Sacramento Kings have always been Sacramento's team because the fan base here is so unique, so passionate, and here we are with a record of 3-13, and the fans still care. Many of them are jumping off and saying, I'm not going to any more games this year, but deep down, they'll be back in a heartbeat because they care. Because they love this team, because it's a fabric of who they are. It's just the reality of the situation. But Vivek, more than 10 years ago, you said this is your team. Well, those people that you were talking to, they don't want you anymore. That's the reality of the situation. They don't want you as the owner of the Sacramento Kings anymore. And it's not just a harsh reaction to an embarrassing game last night. It's a culmination of all of the terrible moves that you have made, including the very first move that you made when you hired your coach, and then you went out and hired the incompetent, horrible, just despicable Pete D'Alessandro. And that was such a bad hire that he ran and put a knife into the back of a great coach in Michael Malone. And bless his heart, he was able to leave. And after a period of time on the sidelines, be reborn, get to the promised land, and win a championship with the Denver Nuggets. Bad move after bad move after bad move after bad move after bad move. And it's not only just bad luck, which, in all fairness, some of it's bad luck. It's you thinking that you really understand professional sports and you thinking that you really know better than everyone else. The reality is you don't. You might be at the top of your field when it comes to Silicon Valley or whatever your background was, which was very successful. Good for you. But that's not professional sports, and it's not the NBA. And quite frankly, as we sit here a few days before Thanksgiving in 2025, you haven't learned anything. You make mistakes, and you don't learn from your mistakes. I make mistakes, but I try not to make the same mistake twice. We all make mistakes. What do we tell our kids when they make a mistake? Learn from this. Don't do it again. You haven't learned anything. You make the same mistakes. You made another mistake with the hiring of Scott Perry when you already had hired Doug Christie to be your head coach. When you have a general manager who's not allowed to hire their own coach, what you have, more times than not, is a disaster. And I've been on record, and I'm going to continue to say this. Doug Christie loves Sacramento. Doug Christie loves the Sacramento Kings. I know that better than anyone, unless his wife or son are currently listening to this show. I was with Doug every single day for years, both professionally and socially. We played golf together. We were out to dinner together on almost every single night on the road. I mentored him. I taught him the business. He was always asking me questions. We had so much talk in between segments on my radio show, our radio show, during the commercials. I know how he thinks. I know what he loves. I know what he doesn't love. I know exactly what he's thinking now. And with all of that said, he's not an NBA head coach. And yet, because of your affinity, because of your love affair with him, for whatever reason, you thought that he would be the right person to replace Mike Brown. And he's not an NBA head coach. And had you not retained Doug after the humiliating home loss to the shorthanded Dallas Mavericks in the play-in game, Doug would not have received an interview from any of the other 29 teams. Fact. Okay? It's just the reality of the situation. So you have a coach who's not an NBA head coach, who really was is in a difficult situation because the general manager didn't do anything to help him. His one free agent signing has been really a disaster in Dennis Schroeder with a lot of money. You gave away Valanciunas, just gave him away, really. We yet don't know about the draft picks because the coach doesn't play the draft picks long enough to know whether or not they can play. And Nick Clifford and Max Reynaud, we think they can, but we really don't know because some nights they play, some nights they don't play, some nights we see on Keon Ellis, some nights we don't. After the game, we have to hear about we're the Sacramento Kings and we're going to play Sacramento Kings style of basketball, and that's rebounding, and that's defense, and that's moving the basketball. Then the next game comes, and what happens? We don't see any of that. And then I hear these 6 principles set forth by Scott Perry, which none of them are being followed. None of them. The Sacramento Kings are a circus. And so I go back to you, Vivek. Are you aware, Vivek, of what your fan base wants? Not just some, but almost every single Sacramento Kings fan wants you to please, we're begging you now. We're really begging you. Please do what's right and sell the team. I have so many friends. I have so many people that I respect over in the Kings organization who are miserable. I feel bad for them. They've been there for such a long time. They're miserable. They really are. I've talked to them. I've talked to many, many minority owners. They want you to sell the team. It's not just a few people here and a few people there. It's time, Vivek. You've had over a decade, and you have completely taken the faith and the hope away from Kings fans because they don't have any hope that you will do the right thing. How could they? They don't have any hope. What we want in Sacramento, we want hope. We want light at the end of the tunnel. But as Mitch Richmond said in the early 90s, he didn't even see the tunnel. I don't see the tunnel right now. I don't see the tunnel. You've got players on the team that don't want to be here, that have bad contracts, that have checked out. Do you know how bad it is, Vivek, when a team checks out before Thanksgiving? Do you know how bad that is? It's as bad as it gets. So I'm not going to come out with venom. I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to make a plea to you on behalf of this great community. And this is a great community. And I'm so happy to be back talking to these amazing fans because you're amazing through thick and thin. You care, you're passionate, but you've had enough. And so I have a microphone in front of me, and I've done this before, and I'm okay to do it again. I'll be your voice. I'll be the person that speaks for you because I know how you feel. Vivek, I'm speaking on behalf of this great fan base. Please sell the team. Please go and do something else with your life. You love soccer, buy a soccer team. You love baseball, go figure out how to get involved with the A's in Vegas like you did in Sacramento. Go do something else. Leave the Sacramento Kings fans with a holiday gift, one that they'll remember forever and they can pass down to their sons and their daughters for generations to come. Please sell the team because this is not rock bottom. I don't know when we're going to get to rock bottom, but once you sell the team, we won't be at rock bottom anymore. That tunnel will appear in front of us and we'll have light at the end of the tunnel. But what has happened with this franchise since moving into what I think is the nicest arena in the NBA, all in all fairness, I have not been to the new arena in Inglewood, the home of the Clippers. And yet, right now, you have fans that, once again, don't want to go. They don't want to go to the games. And it's not just me. It's not just a couple of people here and there. Let me let you, Vivek, now listen to some of the national media members. Why don't we start with a former Sacramento King, current television analyst for the Phoenix Suns, NBA radio. This is Eddie Johnson.
I was in the league, as you well know, a long time. I was on some bad teams, Justin. I was on some bad teams in Kansas City. In Phoenix, my first year, won 28 games, I believe. When I got to Seattle, when I got traded there, they had lost 14 out of the last 15 games. Those were probably the three worst situations I've ever been in as a basketball player. And I never would have said what I'm getting ready to say about the Kings. They're quitting. Just quitting. You know, you can just tell. They're quitting. Now, who are they quitting on? I have no idea.
How strong is that? I think they're quitting on the situation. I think they're quitting on the entire situation. That's what I think. How about Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine, again, NBA radio?
Here's one. In a game somebody had to win, the Grizzlies beat the Sacramento Kings because everyone beats the Sacramento Kings. Brian, they've lost 8 in a row, and they've lost all 8 games by double digits. 4 of the losses have been by at least 27 points. And last night they lose by 41 to the Grizzlies.
It's over for my man, isn't it?
Who? Doug Christie?
I mean, he called all the players out and all the standards and all this stuff. And it's like if you're gonna use those, you gotta like make sure the team responds, right?
Yeah.
It's just tough. I don't think any coach, these coaches work so hard and everything like that. But it's just an example of it's falling on deaf ears.
Boy, again, another former player knows exactly what it's like. I've been in a lot of bad situations with the Sacramento Kings over the years. I've been on buses in March and April where it was so bad, you were literally counting down the days until the season was over. I've been on buses and walking into arenas with teams that have quit. I know the feeling. I know what it looks like. It's the worst thing in the world. But you know what's worse than that? That was at the end of seasons. This is November. There are 66 games left. And this is not just my reaction and the fans' reaction because you lost by 41 tonight or 41 last night to a team that had only won 4 games, had lost 5 in a row, and were without their 2 best players. This is not a quick fix. It's not something that's just going to get better tomorrow. This is going to be a nightmarish rest of the season with very, very little hope in sight. So, again, Vivek, I am asking you on behalf of the great fans of Sacramento to please strongly consider doing what's right. And doing what's right is giving these fans what they want. They don't want you as the owner. Okay? They don't. And all you need to do is spend an hour going on all the different Sacramento Kings websites, social media, listen to shows like this to understand that it's time. Okay? Go out with your head held high. Come out and make a statement that you see what's going on instead of hiding. When's the last time we've heard from you, Vivek? You hide. You show up and you sit courtside, but you don't talk. You make bad decisions over and over and over and over again, and we never hear anything. You really want to go out a hero the way you came in? You came in a hero. You can go out a hero too. You can. You can go out a hero. You can go out with your head held high. Strongly consider selling the team. Please. I'm asking you on behalf of thousands and thousands and thousands of fans. Not just my opinion. I'm not sitting here with an axe to grind. I don't have an axe to grind. I have too much love for this community and this franchise. I really do. Despite everything that happened to me, I don't have an axe to grind. I don't have an axe to grind against you. I don't have an axe to grind against Doug. I just don't. It's not who I am. It's not how I live my life. I've always been about the Sacramento Kings fans. I've always been about this community, and I will until I take my last breath. And I'm not afraid to go on the radio and tell it the way it is. I never have been, and I never will be. But I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about the fans. I am asking you to do the right thing here. You've had a chance, more than enough chances. And you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You keep making the same mistakes. And this franchise is off to their worst start in history, tying a record of 3-13. And you have players that have quit. And Doug, I'm now talking to you. I mentioned this a week ago. I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. You were not hired by the general manager. You coach the team the way you want to coach the team, which right now has no rhyme or reason. Your substitution patterns make no sense. Your minutes that you use to distribute among your players make no sense. Your post-game press conferences, like last night, they're embarrassing. Seriously? You were asked last night in the post-game press conference about, is the message on defense getting through to the team? And are you worried about that? And your answer was no. Because if you look at playing the world champs, meaning Oklahoma City, in the first quarter, talking about the game the night before, go back and look at that. Everybody was physical, handsy, and everything that we talked about on the defensive end, that was 24 hours ago, blah, blah, blah. Really? You just lost by 41 points? You just got humiliated by the Atlanta Hawks? You just gave up 144 to Minnesota in 8 games. You haven't been within 10 points of anyone, and you're going to talk about you're not worried because of the first quarter the night before against Oklahoma City? Doug, stop it. Stop it with this. Stop it with you're going to defend and you're going to rebound. And stop it. Your message is not getting through to the players. And here's another little tip for you. You need to bench DeMar DeRozan. He's checked out. He doesn't care. Players that have checked out, you don't play. And if it means you got to call up 5 players from the G League, then that's the way it's going to be. Sacramento fans don't want players on the court that have checked out. They're done with that. Okay? You're the coach. Who cares what Scott Perry wants? Who cares what Vivek Ranadive wants? You're never going to be a head coach ever again the rest of your life. Do it your way. Stop it. You're not stupid. I know that. I've been with you for years, every day. I know your basketball knowledge. I don't think it's cut out for a head coach, but at least I know you're not dumb, okay? Doug, would you want to be on the floor when you played with players next to you that have checked out and have quit on the coach? Would you want that? It would drive you crazy. You wouldn't tolerate it. Don't tolerate it as a coach. Bench the players that have checked out. Sit them down. I don't care how old they are. I don't care how much money they're making. Sit them down. The fans don't want to see it anymore. Grow a pair and do what's right. Do what's right. Coach the freaking team. I don't know if you can coach the team, which also goes back to where I said, I don't think you're a head coach. And do I feel sorry for you? You know what? I do feel sorry for you because I know how much you love the team and the community. But that doesn't make you a head coach. I love the team and the community too, and I'm never going to be a head coach, okay? Just the reality of the situation. Let's come back and talk about this at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. I want to hear what you have to say. You can text me, you can call me, because we have a lot to talk about next on Fox Sports Sacramento.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
At Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, we're in the business of keeping your house comfortable and secure. And since we're also homeowners ourselves, we understand how much stress a major home upgrade can cause. If you own an older house that's due for a new heating and air system, but like so many people, you're holding off due to the cost, we understand that too. At Sierra Pacific, our finance team can work with you to get you into a brand new system this winter. We'll come out and perfectly install it so you and your family can start enjoying your new, super efficient HVAC system now. Energy rates in California are outrageous, and the only way to fight back is to use less energy. Call or visit us at SierraPacificHome.com. Let us help get you into a new HVAC system in time to enjoy it this winter. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort. Heating, air conditioning, solar, and electric.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
916-779-0929 to call the show, to text the show. Why don't we get to the great city of Nashville and Brian. Brian, thank you very much for leading me off here on this Friday. Go ahead.
Grant, hey, this is Brian. I've actually talked to you before when I lived in Sacramento, but moved to Nashville, and we just went to the Memphis game last night, drove 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours back, saw the Kings almost down by 50. My son and I were actually rooting for the 50 piece just so we can have something to talk about.
Right, I understand.
Some kind of history. We're actually rooting for the other team. But it's interesting because, you know, I've been with this team since 1992. I think it's been one of those things where it's my dad and I had bonding over it, and I bet you and your boys and everybody that is probably listening, we have some sort of history with this team. We want nothing but the best and the memories, and we have a team. You want to be optimistic. We're still being able to complain about a team that's not in Seattle. Thank Vivek for that. But I think on the other side is like we have this team now where I don't see any anger or benching everyone. I think Mike Brown had something. He would bench everyone if he wanted to. You know, he had this kind of like fire about him where he didn't care what people thought of him. And I think Christie is definitely an icon, but man, it's so hard to see him just kind of clapping and giving people fist bumps and being blasé about everything, where it's like, where's the fire? And I'm going to give a hot take here. I think Tom Thibodeau is on Vivek's speed dial, on Perry's speed dial.
Tom Thibodeau would not come to Sacramento and work for Scott Perry under any circumstances.
Okay.
And I know that because I know Tom Thibodeau, and there's a chance that you would be hired and you would take a job before Tom Thibodeau would come to Sacramento. So for anyone that thinks that Tom Thibodeau, wait a minute, anyone that thinks that Tom Thibodeau would come work for the Sacramento Kings is delusional.
Okay, good to hear. I wanted your take on that because that's the kind of like at least fire and spirit we wanted. And to be honest, we had that with Mike Brown. And I think that was the end of the beginning of the end, because you got someone firing such a consistent coach, whether you like him or not. When he ended, then Fox ended. Then the whole thing just upended and you had no identity. And anyway, I saw that last night. My boy and I, we still found positives in it. We still got a team to, but man, I tell you what, there was all hero ball. There was no passing. The other team was passing the ball across the whole court. They were having fun. They were dunking. There was size. There was identity, even with the bench players, the rookies. Anyway, Grant, I'm so thankful you're back in SAC. I'm glad you have a voice. You're one of the most boldest people. Even if I disagree with you, you got a voice out there that's going to ruffle feathers. Well, thank you for all you do, man, and go King.
Hey, thank you. And my youngest son works in Nashville, lives in the Gulch and loves it. And I love visiting him. What a great city. I love going there. In Tennessee, what a great state. You're a lucky man to live there. It's a great place.
It was the best decision my family and I made 5 years ago. We escaped the drought and fire of California. But, hey, I'm hoping you guys get some kind of revival over there as well.
Yeah, by the way, you did see history last night. The Memphis Grizzlies had 42 assists. A franchise record. So there you have it. You can lean on that. All right.
Thanks, Grant. Have a great night.
Hey, thank you. Have a good weekend. We appreciate that very much. Let's get to some more calls. And Al. Hello, Al.
Mr. Napier, you're on fire again. God, this is 3 for 3 that I've called. I've listened to you first, and I've called in. And it extends on to the last time I called when you were on definitely another absolute 100% roll. And I know your heart's bleeding. You've made that clear, but unfortunately, you also know. I mean, when ownership can make a booty load of money, lots of juju cash, I don't know if they're so motivated to ever want to do that. I know you know these things, but it's just so that's the kind of where the fans are held captive. It takes some kind of bizarre, and you've seen them. I've watched sports, I think, a little bit longer than you, but you've been more closer in the industry, like the Donald Sterling situation. Unless you get some kind of like that, or the Redskins / now Commanders, you can really eliminate a very questionable bad owner, what they've done to a franchise. So I don't know how the Kings get out of it. Appreciate listening to your appeal. If my dear daddy was still alive, he'd probably be clapping, cheering for you right now. But it is sad. I feel for Kings fans. I'm not. When I used to call you when you were here before, I'm a Lakers fan. I grew up in Orange County back in the '60s. West, Baylor, all those guys, right? And in that time, I almost kind of liked I didn't know much, but I liked the ownership structure. Mr. Buss, give him all his due. I'm sure you have a take. I'm not going to ask you for it because of the Kings radio, but I thought the last vestiges of the buses are now being blown out.
Well, this is not, first of all, this is not Kings radio. This is the Grant Napear show on Fox Sports Sacramento, and it's not Kings radio. So what's your question?
Well, no, I just wanted your take to see that, so now with even stronger concepts of ownership and support for the Lakers, just wanted your take on that.
Yeah, I think it's I want to make sure I use the right adjective here. I think it's just totally getting away from the past and the ownership now putting their own stamp on everything with all of their own people. I think it's more of that as far as anything negative to say about the buses. I mean, they are synonymous with the Lakers. They always will be. That's the way I see it. What about you, Al?
Well, yeah, and I'm not being negative because I like Joey. I mean, they've had some success. They've been acclaimed, success finding some hidden gems. So I love that. But, you could take a look at the new ownership group and what they did with I hate to even say this, Grant. God, the Dodgers. I hate that, I'm a Giants fan through and through, but you can't deny the success. Yeah. And as you well know, you have caps and limits on players and structures or things. But you don't have that on management. And when you can build up strong recruiting, research groups, all of that tends to make a team better. That's what he's going to do.
Big Al, I appreciate it. Have a super weekend. Thanks for taking the time to call the program.
Yeah, blessings to you, Grant. Bye.
Thank you very much. Again, those numbers, 916-779-0929. So we talk about the national media, right? We heard from Eddie Johnson, former player. We heard from Frank Isola, Brian Scalabrine, former player. Here's Justin Termini on NBA radio.
What the Kings did last night, of all the teams that have lost, of all the games that have been played, I would have to say that last night was the worst loss any team has had this entire season.
How about that? The worst loss. And can anyone argue with that? A 4-win team without their two best players who are in disarray. You know what bothers me about what I'm seeing right now? Forget about the 3 wins and 13 losses. Like, that doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is when I watch the 3 teams in particular that were forecasted to be right around Sacramento in the standings. One was Phoenix, one was Portland, and then a team that was projected to be right at the bottom, along with the Pelicans, the Utah Jazz. And I've watched the Jazz play a couple of times this year. And you know what? Their record's not good. They're not going to be one of the top 10 teams. But when I watch the Jazz games, particularly at home, the crowd is engaged. The announcers are talking about the new look, spirit, playing together, have given the fans something to get excited about. They're only 5-9, but they play together and they play hard and they look like they're a team. When I watch the Phoenix Suns, by the way, also without a key starter, so you can't use that as an excuse. Jalen Green, who's played, 2 games? one game. They're 9-6. I watched the Suns play. They're having fun. They're rooting for one another. The bench is engaged. They play hard. Same thing when I watch Portland. You know what? When I watch Sacramento, I don't see that other than small spurts here and there. I don't see it. I don't see it. Let's get to Bob. Bob, welcome to the show.
Hey, Grant. Hey,
Bob.
Good to hear from you. Okay, so I got a question for you. Vivek, and correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Vivek own the majority of a partnership group which owns the Kings?
He's the managing general partner, so it really doesn't matter what he owns. That's irrelevant here. It doesn't matter. He's the managing general partner, which means he has full control of the basketball team.
Okay, cool. I get that. So the people that are underneath him, I forgive me for not knowing the names. There's the brothers.
There are many people behind. There are many people in the ownership group. We couldn't name them all. It would take too long.
Okay, cool. Okay, so within that ownership group, have you ever experienced where the ownership group, the minority of the majority, says, "Hey, it's time for this SOB to go. Let's have a coup"?
They can't. They can't. And thank you for the call. I appreciate it. The connection's not great. They can't. That's not the way it works. Okay, it's the same reason why James Dolan has stayed as the owner of the Knicks through embarrassing years after years after years after years and embarrassment to the league. They can't. Okay, when you are the managing general partner in the NBA, you basically, unless you break the law or do something egregious, you're the owner until you don't want to be the owner anymore. There's nothing that the minority owners can do. If they could, they would have done it years ago because they want a new owner too. Trust me, I know that because I am friends with most of them and I'm still in contact with most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. Let's get back to some phone calls and messages when we return. What do you think? What did you think about my opening? All right. I want to hear from you on the text line at 916-779-0929. I've already received a lot of messages, but I want more. Do you want Vivek Ranadive to sell the team? Give me a yes or a no on the text line at 779-0929 and call the show as well. That's next here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take our first look at the roadways for this Friday afternoon. We're working a couple of earlier problems just about wrapped up. Southbound I-5 right at River Road had an earlier accident. Still got some delays still lingering through there. I-80 eastbound from Davis out to Sacramento. Also starting to see some heavy rush hour delays along with US 50 and Cap City Freeway. So give yourself some extra time with twice an hour traffic. I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
It's Laramie the Golden Retriever with Vince Bloom the Big Guy.
The weather's getting cooler, but at Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the deals are hotter than ever.
How do you mean, Vince?
Prices are falling like leaves in every Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram in stock.
During the Black Friday sales event at Folsom Lake Dodge, save over $12,000 net savings off MSRP on two new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s. Net price, just $48,995.
And here's another hot deal.
Take $14,980 net savings off MSRP on a new 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Willys, just $42,495. One at this net price.
So drive into Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Now is the time for a deal, right, Laramie?
At Folsom Lake Dodge.
To the Folsom Auto Mall and online at FolsomLakeDodge.com.
Ram includes $65.40 dealer discount plus $61.70 and national stackable below MSRP retail cash. Ends SN 758655 and SN 772532. Wrangler includes $64.60 dealer discount plus $5,500 in bonus national retail loyalty and select inventory cash. Must have FCA vehicle registered in your name for longer than 30 days. In SW 543908, see dealer for details. Expires 12/1/25.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Nine 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. We are talking about the disaster that is the Sacramento Kings with another embarrassing loss last night to the lowly Memphis Grizzlies, but they're not as low as the Sacramento Kings. Let's get to some phone calls. Louis, welcome to the program. Hello, Louis.
Hey, we are all tuned in to the best sports talk radio in Sacramento, the Grant Napear Show. Clip that. Hey, I just wanted to say the Kings have the three worst. We have the worst ownership. We have the worst basketball team. And the commentating is driving me crazy. Grant, I can't even watch the game. Get those guys off the air. I'll take the call off the air.
Thank you, Louis. I've never watched Kings telecast, so I can't comment on it other than all of the bad messages that I receive. I always watch the visiting feed, the other team's feed, so I can't really comment on that. But I can comment on this. Doug Christie, who was extremely critical and went on a rant last week about members of the media and other critics. I've already played a couple of sound bites from national NBA shows. Here's another one.
But think about their starting lineup. You know, you got Zach LaVine at 26, you got DeMar DeRozan, and you got Westbrook starting. And then you have Precious Achiuwa starts as well. He played 24 minutes. The guy was on the Knicks last year as a backup, was unsigned, went to Miami, didn't make it there, got signed by Sacramento at the start of the season. You know, so that's it. That starting five is going to blow you away in the Western Conference.
No. I mean, they're not beating a Memphis team that, to me, when I watched them play, I think they look checked out. So you have one team that's getting called out by your coach, the other team that look checked out to me, and you get crushed by 37. That's your one chance to get a win.
Yeah, 41, not 37, but the difference between 37 and 41 is, but I'm just trying to be factual here. So you understand what I'm saying here? It's not just us here in Sacramento. It's former players like Eddie Johnson going on national radio and ripping the Kings to shreds, saying that they quit. Do you know the worst thing you can say about a team is that they quit? That's the worst thing you can say about a team. There's nothing you can say that's worse than that. Because most of us that have ordinary jobs, and by ordinary, I'm talking about not making 10, 20, 30, 40, and $50 million a year for playing a sport, we can't relate to that. We can't imagine what it would be like to be DeMar DeRozan and make an absurd amount of money for playing a sport and quit. Like we don't We're like, what? And DeMar DeRozan has quit, and I'm not just, well, maybe it does sound like I'm picking on him, okay? Maybe it does sound, but I'm using him as an example because it is absolutely brutal. Here's Tim Bontemps. All right, you ready for this? After 1 month, here's a lesson. It's time to start over, talking about the Kings. Under the headline of What I'm Hearing, not only did Sacramento fall to 3-12 after Wednesday's loss to Oklahoma City, but Coach Doug Christie also removed Zach LaVine from the starting lineup. It was the latest low moment in a season full of them for the Kings, who have already benched the team's top summer acquisitions, Dennis Schroeder for Russell Westbrook, and getting demolished defensively. Sources have been openly wondering about Christie's long-term job status as things have fallen apart. He was given the permanent job over the summer, as well as whether Sacramento could begin to trade some of its high-priced veteran talent, assuming there are any takers for LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, or Domantas Sabonis, who is out at least several weeks with a partially torn meniscus. They're a disaster, said an East Coast scout. Quote, they're going nowhere fast. They just have to put a rock on the accelerator and keep going into the tank. They're expensive, bad, and aging. How about that? The Sacramento Kings are expensive. They're expensive, bad, and aging. What does Jerry Reynolds always say when we talk to him on the postgame show? The Kings are an old team. And it's okay to have an old team, okay, when you're winning. But when you're losing, it's not okay to have an old team and play an old team. It's not. And that's where the Kings are now. And losing is one thing. And I know I speak for the vast majority of Kings fans. You'd be okay if the Kings lost and you knew that they had left it all out on the floor and you saw the grit and the determination and all of that. We've been through this for years and years and years. Just the way it is. It's bad, folks. It's really bad. And as I said in my opening segment, the best holiday gift to you would be for Vivek Ranadive to say, okay, you know what? I've heard you. I'm listening to you. I've had a run of 13 years or 12 years. I hear what you're saying. I'm going to sell the team. Wouldn't that be great? Do I think it's going to happen? No. You know why I don't think it's going to happen? Because he thinks he knows more than me, and he thinks he knows more than the general manager, and he thinks he knows more than everyone else except for one thing. He doesn't think he knows more than his laptop. And he thinks that you can put a basketball team together on a computer with analytics, and you can have a team based on what your laptop says. It's a joke, but it's the truth. 916-779-0929. Don't forget that coming up after Grant's rant at 5 o'clock, Joe Davidson from the Sacramento Bee, the Causeway Classic tomorrow. Sac State, UC Davis. Will it be the last Causeway Classic? Plus, the high school football playoffs. That is all coming up right after Grant's rant at 5 o'clock. So many messages, I can't get to them all on the text line at 779-0929. Every single person has said yes to my question, would you like to see Vivek sell the team? There's been nobody that has said no. Everyone has said yes. Some in capital letters like the 209. Sell the team. All caps. It's not just like some people. It's the vast majority. I'm going to say, without having any factual data in terms of like counting all of the people's thoughts, I believe it's over 98 to 99% that feel that way. I really believe that. I believe it's almost 100%. I'm serious. Like, I don't think it's 70%, 80%, 90%. As a matter of fact, I know that's not the case. And it's not just based on last night's humiliation. This is something that we've talked about for years. But now, whereas maybe 5 years ago it was 50%, and 2 years ago or 3 years ago after the Kings won 48, it may have dropped because fans were like, wow, finally. And then in 1 year, you're out of the playoffs, and then you've now descended every year. And last year, the Kings won 40 games. You think they're going to win 40 games this year? Are you freaking kidding me? Really? You think the Kings are going to win 40 games this year? Huh? Come on. You think you're going to go 37-29 the rest of the year to get to 40? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. And again, the fans, okay, what they want and what they get, probably going to be two different things here. But if Vivek does not sell the team, there is no hope. And as I said, what we want is hope. We've always wanted hope in Sacramento. We've always lived with hope because that's all we can do as fans. That's it. Hope. Give us hope. Right now, there is no hope. Period. There is no hope. We want hope. Please, give us some hope. Give us some hope. Sell the team. Do what's right. Please. I'm begging you. I really am. On behalf of the fans, I'm begging you. Please. Go enjoy your life doing your other passion. I know you want to be a soccer owner. You've tried. You have the capital now. Do it. Okay? I know you love baseball and, with the A's in Sacramento while they're building their new stadium in Vegas. Go see if you can align yourself with that franchise. Go do something else, but leave us to be. Said, Grant, if Vivek ever did want to sell, would he be able to find a buyer? I doubt it. Are you kidding me? 530? Would he be able to find a buyer? There would be a line. You know how many people are dying to have ownership of an NBA team? Come on now. Please. Hour one in the books. Your phone calls. 916-779-0929. When we come back, more on this topic. Love the phone calls, the text on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Still getting very busy throughout the entire area. Don't forget, we have that weekend on-ramp closure, US 50 at 65th Street, so plan accordingly to get around that. Heavy rush hour delays on I-5 northbound and southbound in between Airport Boulevard and East Main Street, so give yourself a couple of extra minutes to work your way through there. Heavy rush hour delays on Cap City Freeway in between Marconi Avenue and Exposition Boulevard. With twice-an-hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hey, it's Grant Napear for DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. Family owned and operated since 2018, serving Sacramento and Placer counties. And yeah, the weather's going to turn soon, and it's going to start getting chilly. And when you need that heater to work, you don't want to be Mr. or Mrs. Uh-oh. You need to make sure that you're good to go. Well, right now at DAS Mechanical, they have a $69 winter maintenance check. That's right, only $69 through the end of November. Take advantage of that by going to dasmechanical.org. That's D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. You can schedule everything online and make sure you look at their 5-star reviews and their numerous Best of the Best awards. Homeowners, business for commercial maintenance, it's all there for you. DAS Mechanical. That's dasmechanical.org. Take advantage of that $69 special now.
Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet? Call the pros who keep the juice flowing. Elite Power Inc. Elite Power Inc. is the commercial and industrial electrical contractor who takes your power and lighting seriously so you don't have to. Elite Power Inc. handles everything from rewiring ancient office buildings to installing cutting-edge control panels in factories. Their IBEW 340 electricians have more certifications than your printer has error messages. And they promise not to judge your breaker panel's creative labeling. Get plugged in with Elite Power Inc., where sparks fly, but only in a good way. Professionally trained technicians, 24-hour electrical service, maintenance, and repair. Project estimating, the knowledge and skill for any commercial or industrial need. Call 916-739-1580. That's 916-739-1580 or go to elitepower.com.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org. That's choosechangeca.org.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Hour one in the books. Hour two. I want to read this comment before we get to the phone calls from the 916. 3 ownerships haven't worked for this franchise. The next owner might take the team to Seattle. Be careful what you ask for. There's no chance of that. Okay, so if you don't put stuff out like that, that's not possible. 916-779-0929. Let's move along to some more phone calls with Roy in Rockland. Hey, Roy.
Hey, Grant, thanks for taking my call. Hey, listen,
Thank you.
I agree with everything you say about needing to get rid of Vivek. He's done an awful job for many, many years. What's kind of funny is that my wife, who doesn't listen to your show, said, "Hey, what time does Grant come on? I can't wait to hear what he's got to say about the Kings' loss last night." And
I love it.
I mean, I'm in this
Smart lady.
the whole time. It's like she is. It's her birthday today as well. So
Oh,
she's listening
happy
right
birthday
now.
to your
Karen,
wife.
happy
See,
birthday.
now, so she got her birthday present. She got a chance to listen to Grant Napear on a very difficult day. See, to me, I don't even know your wife, and I am a big fan of hers already.
She's the best. She's the best. You'd love her. But my question to you is, Doug doesn't play the game. Vivek doesn't play the game. What's the answer? I knew this 2 weeks ago. I was telling her, I said, he's getting fired. I promise you, maybe before Christmas, he's getting fired. And maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I think he will. Vivek is lost in what he's doing. So what's the answer? I mean, I guess that's what I wanted, what would you want to see have happen, aside from him selling the team?
Well, I want him to sell the team. First of all, if Doug gets fired, it's not going to make the team better. But it's just the narrative across the country that people know that he shouldn't have gotten the job in the first place. And you really need a professional head coach in there. Professional is not the right word. You need an experienced head coach in there. Professional was the wrong word, and I apologize for that. Doug's very professional. You need just, especially in this situation, You need an experienced head coach. You need a different voice in the locker room because the players, it's pretty obvious, have tuned out their coach. I'm sorry, they just have. All you got to do is watch the games.
Correct. Well, I mean, even Mike, the coach they just got rid of,
Mike Brown. Mike Brown.
Mike Brown. You know, he said it in an interview that he had lost the team. I said the same thing to her. I said the last time I heard that, the guy got fired, and the next day he got fired. So
yep.
They get new guys in here, and they're just turning over coaches left and right. I don't.
Well, you guys
I mean,
the general manager did not.
simple?
But you have to also understand the current general manager did not hire Doug, and had he been given the autonomy to hire his own coach, he wouldn't have hired Doug. There's no way in the world that Scott Perry would have hired Doug Christie as his head coach. It's not a chance in the world.
Okay, got it.
Hey, thanks, Roy, and tell your wife I said happy birthday.
I will. Thanks, Grant. Bye.
Thank you. Let's get to Modesto and Javier. Hello, Javier.
Hey, Grant. Good to hear you on the radio.
Thank you, Javier.
Just had a quick question for you. If we're looking optimistically toward the future, and let's say we get our wish, we get new ownership, what would you do next? Would you blow up the roster? Would you build around Keegan, keep Keon, believe in Neek and Maxine? What do you think?
The first thing I would do if I were the owner of the Sacramento Kings, I would go out and hire a proven general manager, somebody that has already done this, and I would overpay. I would give them whatever they wanted, and I would give them an ironclad contract that they have complete control and power over all basketball decisions. That's what I would do. And I would say,
you don't believe in Scott Perry then?
No, I do not believe in him, but I've also been very consistent with this and very firm. I believe since he is the general manager, he deserves 3 years to do the job that he was hired to do. But do I think they could have done better? Yes, and I was on record as saying that. I would have hired a younger general manager, and I gave my reasons why, because I think a younger general manager would have more incentive because his longevity and his career would be on the line. Whereas if this doesn't work out for Scott, Scott's been around the block a couple times, right? And, he and his wife can move on into their retirement, and they have everything they need for a great rest of their life. And I'm not saying that Scott Perry doesn't want to win. I'm not saying that at all. But I would have gone with a younger general manager in this situation. But again, if I own the team, that's the first thing I would do.
Okay, and then back to Keegan. So he's a fan favorite. Sacramento loves him. Would you build around him? Do you think at this point in his career he has an all-star potential?
No, I wouldn't build around him, and they're not building around him. He would be one of my pieces, but would I build the team around him? No, I would not build the team around him.
Okay.
Thank you. He's not that type of a player. He's a good player. He's not that type of a player. Ryan, you've been watching the Sacramento Kings for a long time because of the difference in our age, not as long as me. Is this as bad as you've seen it? In your history of watching the Kings, are we at ground zero?
Yes, with the caveat of it could get a little bit worse before it gets better, but I cannot remember a time that I have seen a group collectively play less together and just put forth consistently very little effort. I said it last night on the post game. It looks like a bunch of hostages instead of volunteers, as Scott Perry wants to have here in this organization, and it's not a good product. It's got to be a better product, Grant.
No, I appreciate your input on that. 916-779-0929. Someone said, Grant, I would put a blank check in front of Bob Myers. I'd have him write his number in. That's from Danny. This from the 530. It's to the point where the Kings are an embarrassment to the Sacramento fan base. Yeah. And then he writes pathetic. Yeah, I can't really argue with that. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a Kings fan right now. It is. Right? It's embarrassing. Plain and simple. 916-779-0929. Why don't we get to El Dorado Hills, our next stop, and we say hello to Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I think I look at this as a different way with Doug Christie. I think that in his role before, when Mike Brown was there, he was friends with everybody, and he got along with everybody, and he's respected. So when he goes into a more powerful role, sometimes it's harder to be hard on people that are your friends. And, you want to be people's friends, but when you're in a powerful position, sometimes, it's a line that's, being a boss, main figure, it's harder to be hard on people because you think they're your friends and you want to be friendly with them.
That's a very good point, and I think there's some truth to that.
So it's hard when, if you have employees or you're a boss, you want to be friends because you want them to do stuff for you and be positive.
Very true.
And if you go hard on them, they think, hey, this guy isn't my friend, and then they're going to sit there and, they might not play as hard or, it can have consequences. So
It's
that's
a
what
great point. I know what that's like because I lived through it, being the TV voice of the Kings and having a highly rated sports show every afternoon where the players listen to it. So I've been there. I know it is very hard. It's very hard.
Yep.
It's not easy.
All right. Well, have a good weekend.
Hey, Dave, you have a good weekend too. It's really not. It's very, very difficult. Very difficult. Fun fact, Scott Perry hired Mike Woodson to coach the Knicks when he was the GM. Guess who's the lead assistant on DC's staff? If he gets fired, then Perry will probably be comfortable with Woodson coaching the team if, in fact, they'll even say that's the plan. There is a lot of truth to that, and that's why he's on the bench. I personally think it would be a disaster of epic proportions, even more so than what's going on now, if that move were made with Mike Woodson. That's my opinion. Also, Mike Miller is on the staff as well, so that's another candidate. All right, 916-779-0929. Ryan, another game tomorrow against the team that the matchups just, even though you have Keegan Murray, but now you're without Sabonis. But I don't even think it matters who the other team puts out onto the floor because we saw that last night. The only hope that I see the Kings having is the 11-3 Nuggets are in Houston tonight, and that's going to be a heck of a game. Okay, that's like a big-time matchup in the West. And so you might get a Nuggets team that's banged up a little bit. You might get a Nuggets team that is, fatigued. It's Houston to Denver. It's not exactly around the corner in terms of a flight. They do gain an hour. But, boy, with the way the Kings have been playing, why would I have any hope that even against a tired team, they're going to be okay?
Yeah, and Grant, let's point out, too, the Kings have gotten a lot of good luck. They were the first team to not see Wemby. It seems like the Stars have been out in almost every game they played, and David Adelman usually doesn't do the rest management, load management, but it is the second night of a back-to-back. You are playing the Kings. I think for us, looking at this team, the big thing for me, and it's kind of been this way the last couple of years, it wasn't always about the Kings beating their opponent. It was about the Kings beating the Kings. And then if they were able to do that, usually they would win. I hope to see a completely different starting five tomorrow night. I just want to see effort. I want to see the young guys. I don't care if they get blown out, Grant, by 41 points.
I agree. I would not start Levine tomorrow. I would not start DeRozan tomorrow. My starting lineup tomorrow would not have Russell Westbrook on it, even though he plays his ass off. I'd be okay with that just because of how hard he plays. But all right, let's just say we do start Westbrook, okay? Because it wouldn't be fair to punish him, and punish is probably not the right word. I would have Keon Ellis on the floor. First of all, I think Malik Monk's been playing his butt off, but I would start Keegan Murray, I would start Achua, and I would start Nick Clifford along with Keon Ellis and Russell Westbrook, and I would have Malik Monk as my first player off the bench. That would be my starting lineup.
And I would start probably, and I'm with you there, I would start tailing off some of the Westbrook minutes to Malik Monk. Yes. So end of game situations, give Monk, if he's going and he's flowing, those minutes as well, Grant. And this is something that I've seen in the chat a few times, stuff I've read online, and it's kind of a tricky situation. But if you do go to the youth movement, Russell Westbrook's contract is not fully guaranteed yet.
Correct.
He, he deserves the utmost respect.
Agreed.
Would you even consider
he would get picked up now? He would get picked up by another team. I would do what's best for him. I would in a very short period of time, I would release him.
Yeah.
And do what's best for him. And not that I feel like I owe any of the players favors, but from day one, the guy has come in here and played better than I thought, has never taken a playoff, although there are some times in transition, but for all intents and purposes, the guy plays his tail off. He's been incredibly professional with the media and the fans and everyone that works with the Sacramento Kings. And at some point in the near future, sooner rather than later, I would sit down with him and go, do you want me to release you so you can go sign with another team and, have the back end of your career be bright? Because I got to believe there are teams that would pick him up.
Yeah, I think so too. And it also, to a degree, would help the Kings.
Yes, it would.
Because that opens up playing time for the younger guys that need it, specifically Devin Carter. Because at this,
no question,
at this rate, Grant, you're not going to have these guys sitting on the bench. They're not developing. You're better off sending some of them to Stockton to get some minutes if they're not going to play, and you're going to keep playing the vets.
Yeah, it makes zero sense. Nothing has made sense to me this year. Nothing. And I told you this, Ryan, at training camp.
Yeah.
You were out there every day, and you would have sound. And what was my message to you when fans would call up and say, boy, this really sounds great? And I said,
you're hearing it out of every camp.
What did I say? I said, if you went to every camp in the NBA, you'd be hearing the same positivity. Everything's great, blah, blah, blah. And I said, that's fine. The talk is great. Now let's see what happens when they play their first game against Phoenix. Then they had the big lead and they blew it, right? Then they came home and they were very fortunate to beat Utah. Then they come and play the Lakers without LeBron and without Luka, and Austin Reeves looks like Superman. And that was the start of a nightmare season. And I said to you, after the Lakers game on the postgame show, when the Kings were 1-2, I said, Ryan, do you think the Kings will be 500 the rest of the year?
Yes, you did.
And you said yes, and I said, no way.
Yep.
They're not going to be 500 the rest of the year. Did I think it would be this bad? No. I didn't think I'd be sitting here the Friday before Thanksgiving talking about a 3-13 team that was getting humiliated by the national media, that was being made fun of by the national media, that looked like they had no direction, no purpose of playing. I didn't think we'd be sitting here the Friday before Thanksgiving talking about why isn't Nick Clifford playing, right? Why is he only playing a handful of minutes most nights? Why hasn't Max Reynaud been on the floor, although the last 2 games he's been playing more? Like, I didn't think we'd be sitting here the Friday before Thanksgiving talking about a team that right now, okay, looks to be the worst team in the NBA. And yes, I'm aware of New Orleans and I'm aware of Washington. But Rhino, we always talk about point differential, right? And do you know the Kings right now, they had the worst point differential of any team in the Western Conference, even worse than the 2-13 Pelicans. The Kings are a minus 13.4. Think about that for a minute. How bad is that? Only one team in the NBA is worse, and that's the 1-13 Washington Wizards, who are minus 16.3. Next to that team, the Sacramento Kings are the worst. How about that?
Incredible. And let me double down on that. In this 8-game losing streak, they're negative 23.4. Grant.
Whoa.
23.4.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I do want to say this. With the schedule, we knew November was going to be rough.
Yes.
But I, at this point, am not assigning any of this to the schedule.
I'm not either.
I don't care if you played the Pelicans 3 times. I don't care if you played the Wizards 3 times. I am not convinced that you wouldn't see this same thing and where this Kings team is at.
I agree 100%. Totally with you. Hey, Village Financial Group. And I want to talk about Spencer, who I've known for 25 years, right? And when I talk about businesses on the radio, it's because I've got history most of the times, and I know how good they are. So 25 years, Village Financial Group, Spencer Grimmenstein, family owned and operated. Again, I've watched it. I've been there. Zach, I've done business with him. And whether it's a home equity line of credit, buying a home, selling a home, Spence is extremely experienced. He really is. He's really creative when it comes to financing. He's a specialist with financing. He has access to private money. So again, home equity line of credit, buying a home, selling a home, call or text Spence. He said, tell him, text me. No problem. 916-805-4868. Drop him a line. 916-805-4868. Hey, be sure and ask for the investor special as well. Village Financial Group. Go online at vfgloans.com. Check out their business model and everything else, including over 9,000 properties available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Hey, don't forget, Grant Swan at 5, Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee to talk Causeway Classic and the high school football playoffs and our NFL picks all ahead on the Friday edition of the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic, taking another look at the roadways for this Friday afternoon. Just dealing with some heavy rush hour delays throughout the entire area, especially on I-5 northbound and southbound in between Top of the Town Freeway and about, let's call it Sutterville Road. You got some heavy delays through there. Cap City Freeway, the same thing in between Marconi Avenue and Exposition Boulevard, and US 50 is also very sluggish in between 80 and Cap City Freeway. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Sacramento Kings, the topic of today's show. We will talk some football in the third hour with Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee. Does a phenomenal job. I love Joe. And then we'll have our NFL picks. So the Kings are 3-13. The holidays are upon us next week. Let's go over the 6 principles as laid out by the Kings' new general manager, Scott Perry, and see how that's doing. First principle, competitive. The Kings must demonstrate a competitive spirit in every game, regardless of the outcome. Would you say that's a principle that's been followed? So we say no. Second principle, tough. The team needs to have a physical and mental toughness that embodies a blue-collar and hard working ethic. Anybody would say that's going on? No. 0 of 2, Scott. Team-oriented. Players must work together and share the ball in a way that prioritizes the team's success over individual statistics. Are we seeing that, Scott? Nope. Accountable. Every member of the organization must be held responsible for their actions and commitments. Are we seeing that? Nope. Number 5, disciplined. The team must demonstrate discipline in their habits, both during practices and games. Are we seeing that? Nope. 0 for 5. Professional. Every member of the organization is expected to conduct themselves with professionalism. Check. Yes, they've been very professional, very good with the media. I've got no problem. Okay? So Scott Perry's 6 principles: competitive, tough, team-oriented, accountable, disciplined, professional. 1 of 6. Just like your team's record. 1 and 5 turns into 2 and 10, which basically turns into 3 and 13. Your principles are right in line with your team's record. Really, really bad. Okay? Really, really bad. Think about that. Competitive, tough, team-oriented, accountable, disciplined, and professional. I've said this before. I'm going to continue to say it. Actions speak louder than words. Take all of your words and flush them down the toilet. Okay? Your principles don't mean squat to me. They never did mean squat to me because it's just window dressing. Okay? You don't think that other teams in the world of professional sports have principles similar to this? Do you hear them boasting about it and making it their mantra? You know what? You don't need to sell me on a professional basketball team being competitive, tough, team-oriented, accountable, disciplined, and professional, because I already expect that. I already expect that as somebody that roots for the team. If I were a season ticket holder, if I invested my time and money, I wouldn't need to hear that. I would expect that. Okay? The same way I would expect it if I'm a fan of the 49ers, if I'm a fan of the San Jose Sharks, if I'm a fan of the Giants or the A's, if I'm a fan of the Sacramento Republic, whatever the case may be, I would expect those principles to already be in place. I wouldn't have to have them boasted about as if, oh, wow, I'm going to invent the wheel and we're going to do something different here in Sacramento than was being done in any other team in any other sport. Again, actions speak louder than words. Competitive, no. Tough, no. Team-oriented, no. Accountable, no. Discipline, no. Professional, yes. 1 of 6. And that's where we're at right now. Okay? Plain and simple. It's a team by definition, not by practice. That's where we're at. Plain and simple. 916-779-0929. I can't believe that I'm sitting here on the studio with a microphone in front of me talking about this again after being gone for 5 years. Like, I can't believe it. It's so surreal to me. It's almost like, nothing's changed from the last time I was on radio in Sacramento. Nothing's changed. Nothing. It's the same thing year after year after year after year, with the exception of 3 years ago when they caught fire and they won 48 games. And in all fairness, they also got extremely lucky. They were healthy and everyone else was injured, but still, they were fun to watch. The Beam team, right? It was fun. It was like, wow. And I mean, it was so great for the playoffs. We did our YouTube shows at local restaurants for all of the playoff games. And we had so much enthusiasm. And Ryan and I, we love being at the local restaurants, especially when we were downtown and we saw people walking to the games. And then we would be on after the game, and the excitement and the enthusiasm and everybody with their Kings gear. And you're like, wow, finally, we can say goodbye to 2006 and 2007. We can say goodbye, and we can now start a new era of Sacramento Kings basketball. Nope. Coach of the Year, unanimously voted received every first place vote. Executive of the Year, Monty McNair. Wow. Wow. The Kings are back. It reminds me of the early 2000s. They're back. People just so freaking pumped up and excited. That was only 3 years ago. And now we're right back in the basement, right back at the very bottom of the barrel, not just in the NBA, but in all of professional sports. Constant criticism, justifiably so, from the national media. I think the local media is way soft, but I'm not going to get on the local media. They can do what they want. It's their job. It's not my job. But, like, we've already played a couple of sound bites. Ryan, did I miss any that we can play that might be enlightening for the people that weren't with us in the first hour? Just load it up, and whenever you're ready, you let me know, and we'll just play it. And then after we hear it, I'll let everyone know exactly who it was. Because, like, we've heard from Eddie Johnson, the former player. We've heard from Frank Isola and former player Brian Scalabrine. We heard from Justin Termine, who was talking about how brutal, right, the loss was last night. He called it the worst loss of the season by any team. I mean, it's just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Here's another soundbite about the Kings.
When the national media starts saying that the guys are quitting on your team, when Scott Perry didn't hire you, he was not the executive that hired him. And when it's Sacramento, where coaches have been fired for a lot less, Michael Malonetti had some general success there, and he got fired. Mike Brown took him to the postseason. Year later, he's fired. So they go through coaches, Eddie, like tissue paper. And Doug Christie's off to a worse start than any of these coaches over there. He's tied the worst start in franchise history. So certainly there's justification where you could say, all right, we got to move on.
Yeah, and if it is Doug Christie, the one that they're, doing this to, I feel sorry for him. I do.
Yeah, that we heard from Justin and Eddie before, NBA radio. I feel sorry for Doug too, but he also has to take some blame in his coaching decisions and his post-game press comments and calling out everyone last week. Like, it's the sign of an inexperienced coach. So I actually do feel bad for Doug. I honestly do. And I say that because I know how much he loves Sacramento. I know how much he loves the team. I also felt the same way about Vlade. I felt sorry for him. He loves Sacramento, loves the Kings, loves them, still loves them. I mean, like, it's awful. But at the end of the day, if you don't get the job done, you have to be replaced. And not only is Doug not getting the job done, I'm not even talking about wins and losses. I'm just talking about, can you at least look like a team? Can you at least look like a professional team? I'm serious. That's all I want. Look like a professional basketball team. You see that going on right now? I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. And if the Kings happen to win tomorrow or win on Monday, and they light the beam, I'm going to get excited about that. Really? You know what? It's now embarrassing. Seriously. Get rid of the beam. It was great. Start a new tradition, okay? It's old. It's like the beam team's gone. It was great, but seriously, if you light the beam now, and I really mean this, you're going to be laughed at. Oh, wow, they lit the beam. They won their fourth game of the year with 15 losses. It would be embarrassing. Seriously, forget about it. Move on. Come up with something different. To me, it would be embarrassing. And I'm listening to, again, NBA radio and all of these sound bites and former players and national members of the NBA media. It's unbelievable. From the 209, I don't feel bad for Doug because of how he handles himself in press conferences. The Douglas Dale Christie speech really bothered me. Embarrassing. Nobody is feeling us. I agree with you. It was embarrassing. And I came out the next day on my radio show and I said so. And I thought it was embarrassing. And I also was bothered. Well, bothered's probably not the right word. But Ryan was at the game and he was at the press conference, not the one that Doug went off on, but after the game, he was at the follow-up questions, and he was sitting with the rest of the media during the game, including a very well-known, very respected NBA writer and media personality who does not live in Sacramento but covers the entire NBA, and made a reference about our show. Boy, you're getting everyone riled up again. And there were other members of the media that thought that Doug's comments were directed at me for my opening rant on the show the day before, where I ripped the Kings to shreds. But as you can see, I'm not the only one being critical of the Kings. It's all over the country. Ryan, you remember that day very well, right?
I do, yes.
And didn't a lot of people in the media think that he was talking about me?
That was the consensus. Everybody, it was the Denver game, so I was able to get there a little bit early because of the late start.
That's right, 8 o'clock start.
Everybody that I saw amongst the group that covers the team closely, it's like, you need to listen to the pregame press conference. And I'm like, why? They're like, just sit down and listen to it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I go down to get something to eat, and I'm sitting there with a couple of very well-known people here in this market. And one of them from across the table says, so you got Doug fired up. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then obviously I sat down and listened to it, but it could have been directed at a number of things. The timing was there. It's an easy draw. It's an easy way to connect the dots. But what I found interesting in your open was many of the things that you were ranting about were corrected the next game.
The very next game, they were changes. I was talking about,
yes.
It didn't make sense not to have Keon Ellis on the floor. What happened? He comes in the game in the first quarter.
Right.
And I was talking about some of the other moves that were not being made that needed to be made, and they were all made. They were all done the next day.
Now, granted, we weren't sitting here with 12 computers in front of us and spitting analytics out. They were moves that were very
common
clear
sense
to see.
moves.
Yes, exactly. You have the arena chanting for Keon.
Rhino, I have a little secret. I've never had a computer on in my life with analytics in front of them.
Well,
I've never, not once in my life, I ever gone to my computer and had analytics on them. Not one time in my entire life.
Well, okay. Analytics is a little bit drawn out, the definition of it. If you're looking at stats, you're looking at analytics.
Okay, well, I am looking at the point differential. Is that analytics?
That would be analytics.
Okay,
yes.
well, my calculator broke because the number's too high, and I had to reset my phone. I appreciate that, Rhino. Thank you for letting me know
No
that
problem.
stats also are the same as analytics.
Now, did
okay?
Bowling Green teach you how to use that calculator?
No, absolutely not. We didn't have calculators. I don't think were invented when I was in college. Okay, I'll tell you this: computers weren't. I can tell you that.
They were
all
as
right?
tall as you, buddy. Once they
Oh
were.
my God! Let's get to Mac. Mac in Sacramento. Hi, Mac. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there, Mac.
So I just wanted to comment on a couple things that were at the end of the post game show that were like, the one thing, the saddest thing that was said was about the little boy who's like, I don't want.
Yep, 11 years old. Didn't want King's
and
gear or
stuff,
go
yeah.
to the game.
I'm a teacher, and like I'm a Kings fan, and literally, and I'm telling you, this is the thought of the kids in Sacramento. You get teased. I don't get teased, but playfully teased, if that makes sense. So I don't want people think that there's bullying going on.
I understand what you're saying.
If you're a Kings fan, it's almost like, ha. These kids don't want anything to do with this organization or with the team, and it's such a flip from when I was a kid. Even when the Kings were struggling, kids at school were proud to be that it was their team, that it was from it was a Sacramento.
So they don't want to
team.
wear like a Kings T-shirt. They don't want to have a Kings backpack. They don't want to have whatever. You're seeing that really go down in terms of.
They're really
you know what they're really into is they're Steph Curry. They're really into Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Yeah, I get that.
That's their team, and that's who the kids want to be like. They have no, and also let's think about it. Like, what star is stable at this team? If that makes sense. So all throughout their life, there hasn't been any stability. There's been
without you telling me what school you teach at, what age group are we talking about, if I may ask?
Middle school.
Okay, so we're talking about, young sports
And I
fans.
taught high school. I taught high school also,
Okay.
and that was kind of the same. It was the same. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, hey, Mac, I really appreciate that perspective because it adds on to what I was talking about at the end of the post-game show on YouTube last night. And I spent a couple of minutes. I was so bothered by it.
When you said that there needs to be a divorce, and it would be great if there was a polite divorce right now.
Yes.
Because it might get nasty. You might start getting John Fisher like chants of sell the team and stuff, especially since he's in bed with John Fisher. It could get bad.
It could very well. Yep.
I think you're right on saying right now, if he left, he could, time heals all wounds. And I think wounds could be healed and he'd still be openly received in 10 years or whatever. But if this keeps going, it could become John Fisher, Oakland A's bad.
Oh, boy.
In my opinion.
Mac, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Hey, happy holidays. See you later, Brian. See you later, Grant. Have a good day.
I'm getting a lot of messages about boycotting and doing. I'm going to tell you something right now. For those of you that maybe have not been with me on this show until recently, the one thing I will never do, I'm okay calling out the owner. I'm okay calling out the coach. I'm okay with calling out the team. Like I feel like my job, and I always try to speak on behalf of the fans. Not that we always agree. The one thing I'm never going to do on this show or my previous show, I will never do. I'm never going to be an organizer of a boycott because I feel that would be wrong. That's not my role in doing this show. That is for something that fans need to decide what they want to do. Okay, I'm not going to be the leader. No, that's not who I am. It's not what I'm going to do. And on top of that, I'm not a season ticket holder. So I don't have money invested in the team, and it wouldn't be right for me. Now, if I were a season ticket holder, I wouldn't go on the radio, but I might do it via social media, or I might do it, but I probably wouldn't even do it then just because of my role as a public figure in this community. I'm not going there. If that's something you want to do it. But I'm not going there. It's not what I'm about. I would really have a difficult time living with myself. And I really mean that. All right, more of your phone calls when we return right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
It's Laramie the Golden Retriever with Vince Bloom the Big Guy.
The weather's getting cooler, but at Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the deals are hotter than ever.
How do you mean, Vince?
Prices are falling like leaves on every Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram in stock.
During the Black Friday sales event at Folsom Lake Dodge, save over $12,000 net savings off MSRP on 2 new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s. Net price just $48,995.
And here's another hot deal.
Take $14,980 net savings off MSRP on a new 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Willys, just $42,495. Run at this net price.
So drive into Folsom Lake Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Now is the time for a deal, right, Laramie?
At Folsom Lake Dodge.
To the Folsom Auto Mall and online at FolsomLakeDodge.com.
Ram includes $65.40 dealer discount plus $61.70 and national stackable below MSRP retail cash. Ends SN 758655 and SN 772532. Wrangler includes $64.60 dealer discount plus $5,500 and bonus national retail loyalty and select inventory cash. Must have FCA vehicle registered in your name for longer than 30 days. In SW 543908, see dealer for details. Expires 12/1/25.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. The holidays may feel far away, but the best dates are filling fast. At Bennett's, we make every celebration effortless. Host your holiday parties in our elegant private dining rooms, or let us bring the chef-crafted catering right into your home or office. From family dinners to company parties, our team delivers the flavors, service, and holiday magic your guests will remember. Secure your holiday celebration today with Bennett's at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
916-779-0929. Don't forget, Grant's Rant coming up in 15 minutes. And then Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee. Could we be actually watching the last Causeway Classic, Sacramento State UC Davis, which I was part of for many years, announcing Davis, Sac State? Very fond memories. Very fond memories. I really hope that's not the case. All right, let's get to Ryan in Sacramento. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up there, Ryan?
Hey, I just wanted to ask real quick. I don't watch very many post-game press conferences. I let my eyes tell me what's happening on the court. I don't need to hear someone tell me what they wish would have happened or sugarcoat what actually did happen out there. And I guess my point in saying that is, I don't know very much the etiquette or the procedures, but why hasn't somebody asked Doug Christie point blank, do you think you're capable of coaching this team? I'll take it off air. Thanks.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions. Thank you for the call. There are a lot of questions I would like to have asked, and sometimes I hear them and sometimes I don't. Jerry Reynolds made a fabulous point on our postgame show last night, and he thought that, if there was ever a time for Doug to look really upset and fed up, it would have been last night. And his demeanor at the press conference last night to me was alarming. And his answers to me were alarming. And it was almost like he knew that he had to do it and didn't want to do it. And if there was ever a time to not take questions and pull a J.J. Redick, which he did 2 or 3 weeks ago, or another coach, where he comes out, spews for 60 seconds, and gets off the podium, it would have been appropriate last night because his team quit on him and his team quit on you, okay? And they obviously quit on themselves, and everybody that was watching the game saw it. And we saw the same thing against the Atlanta Hawks. And we saw the same thing to a degree against Minnesota. And we've said that a couple of times this year. And if there was ever a time, okay, if there was ever a time that Doug was going to go off, last night was the proper time. Instead, he's talking about the first quarter the night before against Oklahoma City. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Seriously. I mean, it's embarrassing. His answers last night were embarrassing. He kept on talking about you got to go back and look at the tape. You don't need to look at the tape. There's nothing that you needed to look at last night. Okay, you were watching a game just like I was watching a game, and others were watching a game. I don't know if you were watching in the second half or at the end of the first quarter when the game was over. You didn't need to look at the tape. And again, in his opening remark, quote, it's definitely frustrating. I think the biggest thing is when we go back, we'll look at the tape, first of all. And when we look at the first quarter the other night, that's about as good of a first quarter as we played, especially defensively, boxes and elbows. Would you stop talking about the first quarter the night before against Oklahoma City, who was coming off a lengthy road trip, and we're going through the motions, and we're playing on a level of 1 to 10, maybe a 6 or a 7 in terms of their capability, and you keep going back to the first quarter the night before, not once, but then again, when you were asked about your defense, and if you think that the team is still listening to you, and you said yes because of the first quarter the other night. It was the first quarter the night before, by the way, not the other night. But you keep bringing that up like you're hanging your hat on the first quarter against Oklahoma City. Are you freaking kidding me? Do you know how embarrassing that is? Here's another 916. You want to talk about where the Kings are from the fans' perspective? Give me some motivation, Grant. Why should I watch the game? What's entertaining to you? Because I have no desire to watch this catastrophe. There's nothing entertaining to me. I watch it because it's my job. You think I want to watch the games? I don't want to watch the games. I do enjoy listening to the other team's broadcasters, though, so I can see who I like and who I don't care for. But and I also enjoy hearing what the announcers and the other teams say about the Kings. I mean, they literally make fun of them, and they talk about what a bad defensive team they are. I mean, even last night on the Memphis game, they were talking about how the Kings are a horrible defensive team and have been for a long period of time, and they were talking about statistics from the last 10 years. I mean, it's the same thing every night, different announcers looking at the Kings play and talking about how bad they are and how pathetic they are defensively. So I can't give you motivation. I'm not going to motivate you to watch the games. It's not my job. I'm only watching. You think I want to watch the games? You think I want to watch the Kings play Denver tomorrow? I'm watching it because it's my job. And I have to talk about it on the postgame show. Grant, can you tell the Kings fan how during Doug will change the gameplay? I can't tell you anything about Doug because I don't understand anything he's doing. I don't think he has a grasp of what he's doing. I don't think he has a pattern of what he's doing. Well, I know he doesn't. I've watched the games. I don't think he makes in-game adjustments. I think that was very apparent in the Dallas play-in game where he was thoroughly outcoached by Jason Kidd and an undermanned Dallas team. I mean, it was right there in display. I mean, that's what we talked about on the postgame show. It was so apparent that he was thoroughly outcoached. Now, do I think he's being thoroughly outcoached now? No, I think he's outcoaching himself. I think he's making it too hard. I think he's forgetting about common sense. And I think he feels that he owes something to the veterans on the team. He don't owe them anything. He don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe DeMar DeRozan anything. If DeMar DeRozan's checked out, sit his ass down. He doesn't owe him anything. It's a joke. I mean, his post-game press conferences, a joke. I mean, I'm sorry, they're a joke. They really are. It's embarrassing. Amazing. Seriously. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Embarrassing. Let's get to some more phone calls. Lynn, you're on with Grant Napear.
Grant, how are you doing today?
What's up, Lynn?
Being a long-time Sacramento, lived here all my life, born here, been to many games, and the Spurs don't come that often. I was there to see the great 1996 Game 3 with Seattle because I love Sacramento. I love NBA basketball. This is like the lowest point of Kings basketball that I can remember. I've been calling you almost from day one on their ground, and I have never seen basketball in Sacramento this bad. And it is just ridiculous.
There's no hope.
And there is no hope. And it's just, I don't know where it's going to go. And the only thing I can see a change is what you're saying. The owner has to sell it to another group. And I know you have somebody text you. There will be a lineup to get this team here. But it's just, there's no hope unless there's a change from the top. And you've been on it all year long. Your take's been 100% correct. And
Thank
I'm so glad you're back in here where we can call and listen to the truth. And I listened to part of the game. The one time I usually hit the 1140 station is when I'm listening to G-Man in the car home from my commute. If that was before you got on. Now I listened to you on the way home. I want to just change the subject for a second. So F1. Can they get like an engineer to know how to put a man cover down? Are you kidding me, Grant? Did you see what happened to FP2?
Again? It happened again?
It happened again.
You are kidding me. 2 years ago, it happened with Carlos Sainz on a practice session, and it cost him 10 spots on the grid, which I didn't understand. How can you penalize a car 10 spots on a grid for a manhole cover that comes off because of the downforce? That's not the driver's fault. That happened again in Vegas? I didn't even see that.
It happened in Vegas and FP2. No car got damaged. They caught it in time, and they re-willed it. Maybe these guys who run the F1
Unbelievable.
Over talk to the IndyCar over in Long Beach.
Unbelievable.
They've been running that thing for 50 years. I think they have man covers there.
That's unbelievable to me, Lynn. I missed that because I've been so involved with this debacle and this embarrassment that's the Sacramento Kings.
Yes.
I haven't even been paying attention to the practices in Vegas. And has the flooding, there's no issues with the rain and the flooding, right? Like they were able to.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's gone. They were able to
Good.
practice 1 and 2 yesterday on Thursday, and this happened in practice 2. And
Okay.
I was like,
Wow.
saw that. I was like, holy, how does this happen?
Yeah,
And then
you know
you
what,
see the
Lynn? I
first
didn't even
time-
know that. That is inexcusable, especially since 2 years ago. I mean, Carlos Sainz would have been on the pole, and he lost 10 spots on the grid for it. I mean, how can you do that? I mean, there's got to be common sense. You can't penalize a driver because a manhole cover comes off on the track. Like, how does that?
Oh, yeah, I
how do
agree
you
with you.
penalize a driver 10 spots on the grid for that?
I agree with you. It's not that these guys are not traveling around, but I'm seriously thinking it's the same set of people that's been there for the last 3 years of this Grand Prix.
Yeah.
They should know how to get these man covers down.
Oh my gosh.
I just had to bring that point. I had to just bring that point up to you. Let you back. Good job doing the Kings cover. Can't wait for your rant. And dude, you made me laugh so hard about your rant on the traffic. And I gotta appreciate you getting
Thank
me
you, buddy.
in there with my Germany. That was hilarious. I laughed.
Hey, if I don't
I
talk
just
to you,
laughed
have a
with my
safe
wife.
trip
She
over to
laughed.
Germany.
I'll probably get you a call before I go next week after that one race for a quick minute.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Take care. Yeah, Grant's rant's coming up next. I'm going to do a rant that's not on basketball. Is that okay? Because I feel like I've been ranting for 2 hours, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I got to go something fresh. So I'm going to rant. I already know what I'm going to rant on. Did you watch the game last night? We haven't even talked about the game last night. I'm talking about the football game. And I'm going to get into that next hour. Did you watch the Bills game with the Houston Texans? Well, my rant is about something that happened involving a fan, and the Buffalo Bills are no longer a Super Bowl contender. Okay? So when we talk about who's going to the Super Bowl, you can cross the Bills off your list. You can cross the Bills off your list. Somebody says, the person I feel sorry for is G-Man. He sounds so professional on the radio, but he must be so tired of all of this. I don't feel sorry for G-Man for this reason. Because I sat next to G-Man on the airplane or across from G-Man for 32 years. Okay? And we're both blessed to have done what we've done. And the reality is, doing a team that is good is more enjoyable than doing a team that's bad. But I don't feel sorry for any professional broadcaster that's doing big-time sports, because the reality is there are so many of us that would switch places with that person in a heartbeat. So I've never felt sorry for G-Man or myself or Ralph Lawler or other announcers that have been with perennial bad franchises, because I'm announcing professional games. I mean, think about like what goes on in doing this job. So I don't feel sorry for G-Man. I love G-Man. He's a very good friend of mine. Everyone loves G-Man. Who doesn't love G-Man? Freaking great. All right, Grant's Grant, Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee. All right, Joe Davidson. Love Joe. What a great job he does for the Bee. They're so lucky to have him. And then our NFL picks, all next hour. 2 hours in the books. And then we're at the weekend, thankfully, right here. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Still very busy throughout the area, working a brand new problem, and you're going to find this on I-5 northbound right before Vietnam Vet Memorial Bridge. That earlier accident is still blocking one lane and sending delays pretty much back to about County Road 102. So give yourself that extra time. Cap City Freeway, US 50, along with 99, all have major rush hour delays. With twice-an-hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hey, it's Grant Napear for Village Financial Group. I have known broker-owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at vfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, vfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Call 916-805-4868.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. As the calendar turns to November, Thursday night in Houston served up the annual reminder of the NFL's great truth. Nothing flips a game faster than a pass rush. The Texans, wobbling through an uneven season, missing quarterback C.J. Stroud, walked into a matchup that looked like a mismatch on paper. A loaded Bills roster, backup quarterback on the other side, and that's a recipe for a long night. Houston never bought into that script. Instead, the Texans unleashed the kind of defensive fury that tilts the entire league. 8 sacks, relentless pressures, snap after snap, discomfort for Josh Allen, who rarely looks rattled. And by the end of 4 quarters, Houston walked out with a 4-point win. This is the equalizer. You can be outgunned, outmanned, undermanned at quarterback, but if you collapse the pocket, speed up an offense's heartbeat, that playing field levels in a hurry. It's November football. Talent matters, but having a great pass rush keeps you in a season. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. It's being called the Golden Bonanza Sweepstakes. Thanks to our friends at Mako, the DP Show, proud to be a part of this, giving listeners a chance to join us in San Francisco for Super Week. That's right, a trip for two, including round trip coach airfare, 3 nights, hotel stay, ground transportation, and VIP access to see us do our show. If that's not enough, Mako also giving away 5 free paint jobs and 10 Mako and DP Show swag bags as runner-up prizes. It's really simple to enter. You go to danpatrick.com. The best news, you can enter daily for a chance to win. You can also receive a 25% off coupon to use at any Mako shop. Visit any Mako location now for a free estimate and redeem the coupon. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, go to danpatrick.com for official rules. No purchase necessary. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Open to contiguous U.S. D.C. residents 18 or over. Ends 11/23/25.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
Did you see the Bills-Texans game last night? Did you see the fan being arrested and taken out of the stadium on a freaking luggage cart with a Josh Allen jersey, handcuffed? Buffalo Bills fan in the city of Houston, Texas. All right. They should have arrested their entire offensive line. They were putrid. They gave up 8 sacks to a very good Houston Texans team. And you can say goodbye to the Buffalo Bills at 7-4. This team's not good enough. They haven't been good enough. They're too inconsistent. But that is Bills Mafia on full display, face down on a luggage cart with a Josh Allen jersey, hands cuffed behind his back, wheeled out to jail. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolute classic. The Bills, 8 sacks and a loss, not a classic, a classic disappointment. All right, tomorrow, it is the 71st annual Causeway Classic, Sacramento State, UC Davis. Will it be the last, the best that covers Sacramento sports, in my opinion, in our great city? Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee. Joe, it's so good to have you on. How are you?
Grant, it's always good to join you. I was just talking to Rhino, your great producer, just a moment ago. I'm glad he's still carrying the show. He's still carrying your load, Grant. I mean, the day he doesn't come in for work, it's going to be a train wreck. So kudos to Ryan, and thanks for the build-up. And I'm doing good. You know, you talk so much about the Kings and the misery that they're in. This is another reason why I like doing local sports. And if I need to get a hold of the Sac State president, Luke Wood, he'll get back to me. Same with the chancellor at UC Davis. Same with the athletic director at either school, Rocco DeLuca or of UC Davis, or Mark Orr from Sac State. They'll get back to me. Big picture stuff, feature stuff, whatever. You can't get Vivek Ranadive to talk about anything. And you should talk to the consumers who are paying for that product. So that's
it's embarrassing.
And I covered the Kings exhaustively when Doug Christie played, and those were the good years when everybody was accessible. The Maloofs were accessible, the coaches, the players. It's just I feel for the fans, and I also feel for the fans, Grant, for the Causeway Classic. This looks like it's the end, or at least a pause for a couple of years because of a number of reasons, and I'm having a hard time coming to grips with it. You've done some of those games. We talk about the 1988 playoff game, and when UC Davis had lost to Sac State twice, and I can still see Mark Orr running down the field at Toomey Field, and so why is this game possibly on the shelf? It's because of scheduling. It doesn't fit anymore. So Sac State is leaving the Big Sky Conference after nearly 30 years. Had Sac State remained in the Big Sky Conference, the Causeway would have continued because they are conference foes. Sac State's ambition is to get to the FBS, the highest level of college football. That's to be applauded. But how long is it going to take? 1 year? 6 months? 2 years down the road? Got to figure out the stadium. Are they going to play at Cal Expo? Yes, but how soon? All of those things, all of those logistics and parameters. Meanwhile, UC Davis has 3 non-conference games next season, 3 non-conference games the season after that. Those games are already scheduled, locked in. Well, why doesn't Sac State just buy out the pricey buyouts? And UC Davis is thinking is that's not good business. We already have a this rivalry that started in 1954 is looking at the end because they can't figure it out. I just think it's unacceptable. I understand a year or two break, but even that's hard to fathom.
Yeah.
The one game that sells out with those two teams, Grant, is when they play each other. Sometimes you get other good crowds. We're not confusing the FCS with FBS. It's not USC. It's not Cal. It's not.
It's
Ole
not
Miss
Michigan,
or
Notre
Florida
Dame,
or Penn
Oklahoma,
State.
Nebraska. We get that. Right.
Exactly. And so should hold on to these. And as for the game, I think the winner is probably going to get into the FCS playoffs, and the loser may be out. So there's still a lot to play for here.
So you really think that the winner could be in a good position here right now? If you look at the totality of the seasons, and I hate to put you on the spot, who do you think has the better team?
Oh, it's a good question. The more consistent quarterback play has been the UC Davis. Same guy all season. Caden Pinnock, he's a redshirt freshman. He was a high school star at Del Oro High School in Placer County. He's been terrific. He's a dual threat guy. He's made a couple of mistakes with passes that he's a perfectionist. He'll learn from him. He's going to be a 4-year starter there. And in fact, they've had two different guys. They had Cardell Williams has been the main guy. Jaden Rashada started, both 4-star recruits in high school, both transfers through the transfer portal. Sac State 71 new players this year through the portal or incoming freshmen. It takes a while to get on the same page. Sac State has the best running attack in the FCS. They have 35 touchdowns, which is leads all of the FCS. So they're ground and pound. Even the quarterback's a great runner. I think Sac State doesn't have near the injuries that UC Davis has. UC Davis has had 15 players, Grant, go down for the season with injuries. Just incredibly bad luck. They're not out of shape. Sometimes we know this. Sometimes it's fluky injuries, blown knees, these kind of things. And so both teams have 7 wins. The magic number for a lot of these years is if you have 8 wins, you've got a real good shot. And the winner will be alone in 3rd place in the Big Sky, which is an elite conference in the FCS. And the first 2 teams are Montana State. They're ranked 2nd and 3rd in the country. So I think there's an excellent shot for one of those teams to get in. So there are 24 teams that make the FCS playoffs, 11 automatic qualifiers, conference champions, and 13 at large. Oh, that's plenty. Well, not necessarily, because the Ivy League with schools like Harvard are now in the playoffs for the first time. So it's going to be tough. And so it just makes it more deep. And the game Saturday at 1:00 at UC Davis should be good weather. I ran a story today in the Sacramento Bee on Sac State loves to go smash mouth football. Every lineman in America, at any level, Grant, you know this. Let's run the ball. It's us against you. And Chris Richardson is the line coach for Sac State since 2019 when they rose to power. He was the longtime head coach at Folsom High School. He said it always starts with the line. No matter what level you play or watch, it's got to be on the line. So I'm going to favor Sac State in this game, but it's football, Grant. It's the Causeway. You never know.
Sure. Joe, you said 1988, Davis, Sac State, Mark Young. Listen to this, Joe. How about that, Joe? What memories? I remember that so well, Joe.
I remember too. I was working at the Davis Enterprise then, and I did a side story, and there was great energy, and it was great Division II college football, natural grass, the old clunky stadium at Toomey Field. And that was such a significant year for Sac State because earlier in the year, Coach Bob Matos and Sac State finally beat the Aggies to snap an 18-year losing streak. And then they backed it up in the Division II playoffs and won again to prove it wasn't a fluke. Here's what's interesting, Grant. Right after that, by 1990-91, Sac State moved up to Division I and had scholarships. And then Sac State beat the tar out of UC Davis for about 5 years in a row. And there was talk then of dropping the series because Sac State became too good. But then it closed again. They went back and forth. So and another thing that people forget about is about 30 years ago, both college football programs at Sac State and UC Davis were on the cutting block. This is when a lot of programs across the state were folding. Long Beach State, Fullerton, San Francisco State, Sonoma State, because of budgets. And student referendums saved both schools because once you drop a college football program, you don't bring them back. So it's been about 30 years where they held on and or survived those cuts. But yeah, I'm bummed that this might be the last Causeway. It's
that would be
the
terrible.
last one for at least 2 years. Now it just doesn't make sense. But that's just college football now.
Sure. Yep. Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee. Let's turn our attention to the high school football semifinals and a D1 showdown. Grant and Oak Ridge High School. Break it down for me, buddy.
Well, I just fed the local economy with my good friend Scott Tedman, and we went to Steve's Place Pizza right here in El Dorado Hills, and
love it.
Fed our considerable faces. No pitches of beer. I'm working tonight, Grant. Couldn't do that. So I'm in the Oak Ridge parking lot here in El Dorado Hills, and that's a fantastic game. So the Grant Pacers are tradition. They're powerhouse. They were a Sacramento Bee team of the decade in the 1990s, team of the decade for the 2000s. Who's going to close the gap on Grant? Teams like Oak Ridge started to close the gap with young quarterback named Ian Book before he went to star at Notre Dame, before he reached the NFL. And then Grant had a dip and has roared right back, won 2 section championships, 2 NorCal, actually 3 in a row, section and NorCal championships and 2 state championships, moved up to Division I. And Division I in this area, Grant, is large school. Grant loves being in Division I. If you're taking on Folsom, you're taking on powerhouses across the state, you're not afraid of anybody. So the Grant Pacers are fantastically talented, great offensive linemen. They got guys going to places all across the country. They have a 6'7" receiver named Zoe Edwards. He's a 5-star recruit, only a junior. Impressive team. He got humbled with some tough losses early in the season. Have grown from it. Casey Taylor is the Oak Ridge coach. He's as great of a coach as this area has ever seen. A lot of championships won at Del Oro. He's back at Oak Ridge, his alma mater. I think it's a toss-up game. I picked Grant to win. It just feels right. And if Grant wins, they'll get a potential shot at Folsom because Folsom beat them into the ground in the season opener. And Folsom plays Monterey Trail in a Division I semifinal. Oh, that's Folsom by a landslide. Not necessarily. 5 years ago, Monterey Trail played Folsom and beat Folsom. It was a stunning upset, beat them by 12 points. And Grant, they had 4 touchdown drives of 16 or longer, 16 or more plays. And they had the ball for 40 of the 48 game minutes. Now here they go again. And Monterey Trail, their coach, TJ Ewing, knows how you beat Folsom. Easier said than done, but you run the ball and keep the Folsom offense on the sideline. I still think Folsom will win. Folsom's got the best player in the state, 5-star recruit.
Yep.
Ryder Line's going to BYU. I think he's going to be an NFL guy, 6'3", 225 pounds, great footwork, great teammate, great leader, always been a perfect grade. So those are titanic games in our semifinals with good weather too. So that's a bonus.
Joe, before I let you go, the last time I had you on, we were talking about the Sac State debut for Mike Bibby and, of course, now the Pavilion. And you've got Jim Less at Davis. But I want to just talk about Sac State right now. In your years since covering Sacramento sports, is this the peak for Sac State basketball? Is this the most interest that this program has generated since you've been covering Sacramento sports?
Without a doubt. Sac State moved up to Division I, up from Division II in 1991. Since that time, Grant, Sac State men's basketball has produced 2 winning seasons. 2. There have been a lot of clunker seasons, a lot of just nothing. And some of that was maybe the gym. They played in the Hornets' Nest, nice, cozy little venue, 1,000 seats, but it was the worst facility in college basketball.
Horrible.
And so now the Hornet Pavilion is a gem. It's 3,000 seating. It's not permanent, but it's a significant upgrade. And yeah, kudos to Mike Bibby. And I like what I've seen in him as a coach. He's a big stickler on fundamentals, on screening, backdoor plays, moving around the ball, defensive rotation. He's brutally honest after games. He will call out his team if they're not playing hard or with any intensity. He's got 15 new players, so it takes time, but they play hard for him. He's always going to be able to recruit. He loves coaching. I got a big story running on him next week. He did not have a relationship with his father growing up. He has a wonderful relationship with his son, Michael Bibby, who's on his coaching staff. So there's a nice human interest there.
Was Mike open about his relationship with his dad to you?
He's been open with it to me in the past. I'm going to meet with him on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
And I think he will talk about it.
Because it's always been a sensitive issue for him.
Yeah, I did a story about 20 years ago on Mike, and he talked about it. I think there's a comfort zone, and Mike's mother, Virginia, has been a rock in his life, certainly forever.
Yes.
And she attended his first game at Sac State.
That's great.
And I chit-chatted with her.
That's great.
And I said, how neat is it that you get to see your son? She goes, he's always wanted to do this. And I said,
That's
how
great.
about Michael? She goes, I'm so proud of him. She goes, and I'm proud that he doesn't curse as much as his father, Mike. that was some good insight. But there is excitement. The venue is sold out.
Love it.
3 or 4 times for home games already. People are excited. And, if Kings fans are fed up, go watch the Hornets.
Yep. Joe, you're a Sacramento treasure. We appreciate every time you join me and our friendship that goes back for decades. You're top shelf, my friend. We look forward to the coverage in the Sacramento Bee as you are going to take in this game tonight with Grant and Oak Ridge. Enjoy the game, Joe, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Grant, thank you. I appreciate our friendship. Great to have you back in town. And kudos for Rhino for carrying the load, man. I'm just telling you, that's what it is. That's what I hear, brother.
Joe, I will just end on this note. You did say one thing at the beginning of the show. You were 100% correct. If we ever get a day where Rhino cannot make it to work, I am in deep, deep trouble. So that is factual, 100% truth, okay?
That's awesome. Truths and facts, baby. We'll talk soon, Grant.
Take care, Joe. Enjoy the game. Bye-bye. Good stuff. Joe Davidson, Sacramento Bee. Just really love talking with him. Just incredible. Hey, I want to tell you about DAS Mechanical. We talk about heating and air. And maybe right now you're like, Napes, I'm good. Okay, well, you may not be good tomorrow. You may have an issue in a week or 2 weeks, or you may also be aware that your HVAC system is outdated. And you're like, I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off. Okay, let me help you out here. DAS Mechanical are specialists when it comes to retrofitting and service. And they're not going to come out to your home and do anything without going over every single option available to you so you can make the best choice. All right? Homeowners, businesses for commercial maintenance, family owned and operated. They serve Sacramento and Placer counties. Check them out on their website, dasmechanical.org. And you go, Napes, then why would I go with DAS? I'll tell you why. Okay? All you got to do is look at all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous Best of the Best awards. So if you're not familiar with DAS Mechanical, get familiar with them because they are top shelf. They are specialists. They are incredible with what they do. Again, retrofitting, service, new systems, options for financing, including 0% interest for 18 months, all available. Schedule online, dasmechanical.org. We're coming right back. NFL Talk next on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Fox Sports Traffic. Heavy rush hour delays exist throughout all of Sacramento, working an earlier accident I-5 southbound right before the Vietnam Vet Memorial Bridge. Give yourself extra time to work your way through that. You're going to hit those brakes right on the approach to County Road 102. Ride those all the way to the accident scene. Cap City Freeway westbound right at Watt Avenue got an accident off to the shoulder, also causing some slowdowns, so give yourself extra time. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabrud's for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabrud's, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrud's.com.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Start your weekend off right with Bennett's Bubbles and Brunch. Every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 2, enjoy 2 entrees and a bottle of Prosecco for just $49. Indulge in favorites like our Dungeness crab omelet, country fried steak, or eggs Benedict. Whether you're celebrating, catching up with friends, or just treating yourself, brunch at Bennett's is always the right occasion. Come raise a glass, your table is waiting. Reserve now at bennettsrestaurants.com. That's bennettsrestaurants.com.
You got to love this, Rhino. I got a message from Baki over in Serbia. He said that they are driving in the middle of the night over in Serbia. And he said they want to say hello to all of the listeners. And he wanted me to let everyone know that NBA Serbia is with you. How cool is that? Listening to the show, driving in Serbia, Baki and his buds. Is that awesome or what?
Love it. What's up, gentlemen? Keep it between the lanes, Tedora.
Yes.
Holy moly, Jim Bob Bully. For you.
Love it. That's great. That's great. Are you with me before we do our picks in the next segment? That I got to cross the Buffalo Bills off my list of teams that I'll be seeing in the Super Bowl in February?
No, not really.
Why?
The NFL has just been so week to week. There's not that team. I mean, I guess you can say the Colts maybe are that team, Grant.
How about the Patriots?
Patriots, Rams, Seahawks.
Yeah, but I'm talking about getting to the Super Bowl, not necessarily winning it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about the Rams or the Seahawks because you're not going to play them. You have to get to the Super Bowl first before you play them.
Yeah, I was just throwing around for 2 teams in each conference where I'm just giving you an example of how the NFL is just, there's not that solid team that, I think that we can say, which I love, Napes, that we say, oh, this is going to be the Super Bowl, right? Makes it exciting.
I watched the Bills. Defensively, they're not where they need to be. But I think when I look at the Buffalo Bills offensively, and I look at Josh Allen and I look at that opening night game where both offenses looked amazing, if you remember the Baltimore-Buffalo game. And again, I know I'm going back to week 1. You don't want to overreact in week 1, and I always say that, okay? But when I look at the Bills and I try to figure them out, they scored 41 points in week 1, 30 in week 2, albeit against the Jets, 31 in week 3 against the Dolphins, 31 in week 4, okay? Then they only scored 20 and 14 the following 2 weeks in losses against New England and Atlanta. They come off a bye week and they destroy Carolina with 40 points. They score 28 against the Chiefs, and then inexplicably at Miami, they only score 13. Then they put 44 on the board against Tampa, and then last night only 19. Like, it's just so inconsistent, as you were pointing out. But I guess you're right. They're a mirror image of almost every other team in the NFL, with the exception, and again, I'm going to keep it to the AFC right now, with the exception of New England and Indianapolis. And yes, I'm not including Denver in there because I think they have been very inconsistent too. Although, in fairness to Denver, okay, they find ways to win in the fourth quarter, but like their offense has been incredibly inconsistent. Their defense has been the staple of that team, and they do show up and they are very consistent every week. But if I'm looking at New England at 9-2, and they've already beat Buffalo once, and I'm looking at the rest of the AFC, Indianapolis has to play Jacksonville twice, so I can't say that the Colts are going to win the division. Denver looks like they're in a really good position because Kansas City's too far back, and the Chargers have a lot of injuries, so I think Denver is going to win the AFC West. But I got to tell you, would I pick Denver right now, today, to beat New England? I wouldn't. Would I pick them to beat Indianapolis? I wouldn't. But then again, they should have beat Indianapolis in week 2 when they had a 15-yard penalty on a missed field goal at the end of the game, which allowed Indianapolis to then kick again after the penalty and win the game. So
Right.
you, in a nutshell, Rhino, the playoffs are going to be unbelievable this year because there is no rhyme or reason. And you're right. Anyone could really win.
You know what the word that comes to mind is, and my old man in Elk Grove's going to laugh when I say this, Grant, the teams that look like the best teams right now in the NFL, their offenses are balanced.
Yes, very true. Very true. And the best teams in the NFL right now all have really good defenses, right? If you want to talk about the Rams in Seattle, what do they both have? Really good defenses. If you want to talk about Philadelphia, what do they have? A really good defense. If you want to talk about Denver, really good defense. New England, really good defense. Indianapolis, pretty good. Not as good as those others, but pretty good, right? Like, that's something they all have in common.
Very true. Very true. Just ask Sam Darnold. He got a taste of that Rams defense last week.
Oh, boy.
What do you make of the Eagles and all this noise coming out around Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I think it's nonsense for this reason. When it's a big game, I know that Jalen Hurts is going to play well. There's his resume and his track record is such that in big games, I don't worry about Jalen Hurts. In big games, he makes the big plays, and he plays unbelievably well. If I'm an Eagles fan, gosh, I can't even say that. Let me back that up. For those Eagles fans, all right? For those Eagles fans in that despicable city of Philadelphia. Okay.
Did you see what they did? Did you catch what happened? This week, I believe it's Cowboys week.
Yeah.
They, in an elementary school, lined up punching bags and put pictures of Cowboys.
Come on
punching bags.
That's Philadelphia for you.
And the news is covering this. They're going kid by kid punching pictures of the Cowboys.
So my first 2 years of college at my fraternity house, my roommate was a guy named Scott. All right. He was from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Philadelphia. One of my best friends in life. So he was a schizo Philadelphia fan. You know how I was. I don't have to describe myself to my listeners when it comes to my favorite teams.
Yes.
So the Rangers and the Flyers were playing in the playoffs almost every year that we were in school. And you have to understand, this is before the internet, before cell phones, before any of that. So I would call up Sports Phone in New York City. All right. They had a thing called Sports Phone.
Sports Phone.
Sports Phone. It was a number that you called, and it was a sportscast of all of the updated scores. And they would literally update them like every 2 minutes. So I would call the number with a 212 area code. It was like 212-976-1313. I think I still remember the number. 212-976-1313. Sports Phone. All right. So I'm calling, this is with the rotary phone. So I'm taking and I'm literally, you got to put your finger in the hole, 212-9. You got to turn it all the way to the right. Then take your finger out, put the 7. That's how you would use the phone.
Yeah.
And they would then, a recording. Welcome to Sports Phone. at the Garden right now. The Rangers have just, and I would go scream, yes, they scored. It's now 1-0. Okay, so I was calling, like they had an update, I want to say every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, I would call to get the score with Scott. And that was the good news. The bad news is when I got my phone bill,
yes,
at the end of the month, I couldn't afford to pay it. I didn't have enough money to pay my phone bill. But I had a picture of my grandparents underneath the phone. And one night, the Flyers in one of their games scored with like 30 seconds left. And I threw the phone and it ricocheted off the desk and broke the picture of my grandparents in our room. Yeah. But you should have seen my phone bill with the same number on it like 200 times at the end of the month. I was like W, because his last name was Werner. We called him, I go W. He was on the lacrosse team with me. I go, W, man, you got to help me out here, bud. I go, I'm like, it was ridiculous.
Can we set up a payment plan? Phone company.
Yeah, I think it was 212-976-1313, the sports phone.
So I can relate. You'll remember this. You had the same thing for us as kids growing up. If you didn't have the phone book, what did you dial? It was like 411.
Yeah.
And you'd get a live person.
Yeah, information?
Yeah, you'd be like,
yeah. 411 was we used that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't want your parents to be looking at you, looking through the phone book for the phone number of the girl that you want to call and be like, hey, can I speak to so-and-so? You just went to 411.
Patrick from New York says that was the number. How about that? I remember that number from, gosh, how many years ago was that? 77, 78, 79? I still remember the number. 212-976-1313. You want to talk about like how old I am. So my aunt, my dad's sister, worked for Newsweek magazine in Tokyo. And when we wanted to call her, we had to dial 0. And we would have an operator transfer us to an international operator, give them the number, and that's the only way you could make an international phone call. You actually had to talk to a human being and an operator, and they would have to get the number you were calling, and they would have to place the call. And then when Lucille, my Aunt Lucille, would answer the phone, you would hear the operator, is this Lucille Napear? Yes. Okay. We have a call from America from so-and-so. And they would say, do you accept? Because a lot of times, like when I had to call, if I wanted to talk to my aunt, I would call collect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so they would say it's a collect call, meaning she would have to pay for it. And they would say, do you accept? How about that?
It's crazy. That is nuts. I think it's fun to look back at what were like the technological advances, the way we got the quickest information 20, 30 years ago. Like when cell phones came out, Grant, and I'm not talking about the ones in the leather case or the, big block from Saved by the Bell. I'm just talking about the Nokias with Snake.
Wow.
We used to, Grant, you probably did this too. You would go to your bill and you would make sure that you weren't using all of your minutes.
Yes.
Because if you went over your minutes, it was
exactly
massive charge.
Wait a minute. You're telling me, Patrick, that Chuck Cooperstein, he was one of the voices on Sports Phone? Chuck, who is the longtime voice and a very good friend of mine of the Dallas Mavericks? Wow. Pre-WFAN 20-minute updates. Yeah. Chuck was doing that? Next time the Kings play the Mavs, I'm going to get Chuck on. I'm going to ask him about that. That's freaking wild. All right. When we come back, we are going to have our NFL picks, getting you ready for the weekend. That's next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take one final look at the roadways for this Friday afternoon. Still got a couple of troubled spots out there. One is on I-5 southbound right at Road 22, Old River Road. That accident scene is blocking the right lane and causing all sorts of delays through there. Don't forget we have that weekend on-ramp closure at US 50 at 65th Street, so plan accordingly if you do head out for that this weekend. Normal rush hour delays still in full swing. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Hey, it's Grant Napear for Village Financial Group. I have known broker-owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at bfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, bfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Call 916-805-4868.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Need new tires? Now through November 30th, save $100 instantly when you buy a set of 4 Bridgestone WeatherPeak tires. Save $70 instantly when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, or buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires and save $60 instantly. Only at Express Tires. Express Tires, 7215 Watt Avenue. Offer valid November 1st through November 30th, 2025. Cannot be combined with other offers. See store for details.
I love this for a variety of reasons. It's the last segment of the week, which means we get to the weekend. So that's first and foremost. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm really not. That is the truth.
Well, it's not
so
really
I was
the weekend.
I was
we have
2 and
Kings
2
tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I was 2 and 2 last week. What were you?
2 and 2. We've
All
not
right.
gotten to that 3 and 1 week together. We need that.
All right, I'm going to go first this week. All right.
Let's go.
You okay with that?
Absolutely.
Eagles, Cowboys from Dallas. The Eagles are -3. I'm going to take them. I think they go into Dallas and win. Give me the Eagles -3.
Eagles -3. All right. Seattle Seahawks. Rough game last week in Los Angeles. Although, Grant, do you think it was about 85-15 with the 12s?
Do I think it was what? Oh, yeah, I do. You were spot on with that. It was, to me, it was like a home game for Seattle.
It did feel like a home game. They lose, but cover, which was good. They move on to Tennessee. They are favored by 12.5 points. There's no way. 0 chance that Seahawks defense is not showing up. I will lay 12.5 points with the Seahawks.
Whoa, that's a lot of points. All right. The Giants and the Lions. With the real Detroit Lions, please stand up. The Giants are really bad record-wise, but you know what? They've been in almost every game they've played. And whether Jackson Dart plays or not, I think they'll cover. So I 12.5, I'll take the 12.5. Give me the Giants plus 12.5 in Motown.
You just said 12.5 is a lot of points. All right.
You don't think it's a lot of points?
I do think it's a lot of points. I'm with you there. It is. And I'm looking at this game, the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. Will the real Packers offense please stand up?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know who you are. Some weeks you look
Agreed.
great. Some weeks you look awful. Minnesota, a lot of noise coming out of there about J.J. McCarthy and comments, etc., yada, yada, yada. Long story short, I'm not confident, and I love Green Bay, one of the best cities I've ever visited. Great to be at Lambeau Field, not for a game. I love y'all there, but I can't go Pack Go this week. Going with the Vikings plus 6.5.
All right. Jacksonville at Arizona. I don't understand. Am I missing something here with the line only being 2.5 in favor of Arizona? Like,
maybe.
Why is Arizona getting 2.5 points and not getting 5 points, 7 points, 8 points? You know, Jacksonville's still in the hunt, and they have 2 games still to go with the Colts. You know what? I'll give you the 2.5. I got to believe Jacksonville's going to win this game. They can't lose at Arizona, can they? I mean, I know that the Vegas lines are normally right on. By the way, you have to use DraftKings to get in on this with us, and you'll win a $100 gift card from Bennett's. We should point that out. Don't forget about Thanksgiving coming up and their to-go meals at Bennett's. It's awesome. So just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, but you'll also be able to get a $100 gift card if you have the right number of picks. And if there's a tie, we do a tiebreaker. But I'm sorry, give me Jacksonville, Rhino, minus 2.5 at Arizona.
All right, written down. This is going to be a controversial one. Raider fan, I love you. I really do. You ride through the thick and thin with that team. It's been a rough year. It's going to get even rougher. Shedeur Sanders starting this week for the Cleveland Browns. I think he's going to play pretty well. And I don't think the Raiders offense is going to move the ball whatsoever. Yeah, he might get a little pressure, but guess what? He handled pressure well at Colorado. He basically had no offensive line. So I think he can get outside the ends. I'm going to take the Browns plus 3.5 over the Raiders.
Wow. All right. Where do I go here for my final pick? Because I'm on the fence. 2 of the games that I was going to pick, you picked. So I'm looking at this, and I am going to go with points. All right. And I'm going to take, I know I'm crazy, and I know I need to have my head examined. There's no Justin Fields. 13.5, a ton of points. I'm going to take, I know I'm crazy. Give me the Jets plus 13.5 at Baltimore.
You just, okay, so now you've taken 2 of mine as well. That is hilarious.
Why, you were going to take the Jets?
I was going to take the Jets.
All right, you can take them. There's no reason why we can't pick the same games.
We could team up. I know there's one game for sure we were both staying away from, the Falcons and the Saints.
Yes, I'm not touching that game. No way in the world.
No chance whatsoever for me either. I'm looking at the schedule. Look, I think the Patriots are going to keep rolling over Cincinnati. I know you might get Joe Burrow back, but I just feel like the Patriots are an entire level above Cincinnati. And yes, you got the talent on the outsides, but you got to be able to get the ball to them. Give me the Patriots minus 7 on the road against the Bengals.
All right, so here's the picks. All right, I have Philadelphia, the Giants, Jacksonville, and the Jets. To show you how delusional I am, that I actually have the Jets and the Giants, 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. Ryan's got Seattle, Minnesota, Cleveland, and New England. So here's the deal. You go on our X account, all right? You have to respond to us once we put the picks up on X. Then you will use DraftKings odds. You have to use the DraftKings NFL odds because we all have to be playing with the same numbers. If you win, you get a $100 gift card from Bennett's Restaurants. Do we even have a winner from last week?
Yes, we actually do. At Griffiths DVM on X. Congratulations. You have won a $100 gift card to
Love it.
Bennett's Restaurants, any of the 3 in Rockland, Roseville, and Howland Fair Oaks in Sacramento. Big thanks to Brian and the team for sponsoring our picks here on Fox Sports Radio.
And great for Thanksgiving. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out what they have going on. And they also have tremendous Thanksgiving dinners that you just go, pick up, take home, and enjoy. It's a great way to go. Saves you all of the cooking if you're not into that, like me, and you can go to Bennett's and take care of that. So that is Bennett'sRestaurants.com, and we thank them for their gift cards of $100. So Philadelphia, the Giants, Jacksonville, and the Jets. You've got Seattle, Minnesota, Cleveland, and New England. And then here's what we're going to do. On Wednesday of next week, we're also going to have a $100 gift card from Bennett's available on the 3 games on Thanksgiving. So we're going to have a bonus, all right? And then on Wednesday, we'll also do our picks for Sunday. So next Wednesday, in the last segment, we're going to do Thanksgiving picks for a $100 gift card from Bennett's, and then the Sunday-Monday schedule.
2 chances to
You
get
good
some
with that?
Bennett's. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
The
All right.
Thanksgiving games are always a blast.
And tomorrow, we are going to be working. We will be on YouTube after the Kings take on the Denver Nuggets. Jerry Reynolds will join us. So be sure and you join us tomorrow on YouTube and X. And if you don't like that, the Kings coming off, well, to say it was embarrassing would be an understatement. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, the Houston Rockets are playing the Denver Nuggets tonight in Houston. It's a big game. It's a really big game. It's a big game because there are 2 teams that are near the top of the standings. So it is a big game. They have not yet started. That game is going to be coming up in about 40 minutes in Houston. The Nuggets 11-3, the Rockets 10-3. That should be a dandy of a game. I might watch that game.
Yeah, I'm going to be all over that. You know, Houston's still trying to figure out that point guard role. So can they read? Shepard's gotten some looks there. Fred VanVleet missing for them does change the formula, because their formula that they built this team around was exact. Like, they assumed they would have this set, especially with Fred VanVleet.
All right, bold question of the day before we adjourn. The Pelicans are in Dallas playing Mavericks. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Both teams have been absolutely awful. Dallas has been incredibly inconsistent. They are 4-12. New Orleans is 2-13. Now, I know both teams are dealing with injuries, but so are many other teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
Is Jason Kidd on the hot seat in Dallas?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
Yeah, not at all. You think he is?
No, I was asking a question because at some point, it always goes back to the coach. And they have a point differential of minus 6.6. And I understand what they're dealing with in terms of injuries, right? But at some point, Anthony Davis gets hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They have lost Exum for the year. D'Angelo Russell, again, he was dealing with an illness. I don't know if he's playing tonight. I'm not a fan of his anyway because he's just, Jekyll and Hyde. But they're very disappointed in Dallas. They thought they would be significantly better than this, even with some of the injuries they're dealing with.
Yeah, but I think Dallas fan is back to level, back to even, back to Copacetti, whatever you want to call it. Now that
Because of Nico Harrison being fired?
gone. And you got to realize the owner signed off on the Luka trade. The owner signed off on getting Anthony Davis.
Yep.
And if they were to oust Jason Kidd over this, then I think you're putting yourself right back into that same mess, especially now that they're talking about, or there's rumors they might be shopping Anthony Davis names.
Boy, could you imagine that? Would you take a chance on Anthony Davis if you were a general manager?
I thought you were going to ask me here in Sacramento.
No, never in Sacramento. Would you take a chance if you were a team that was like really good but not great? Like you looked at your roster and you're like, okay, would you take a chance on Anthony Davis? All right, let me throw out a team. The Knicks.
No.
Okay.
Let me throw a team to you. The Thunder.
No way in the world. You don't need Anthony Davis. You already have a great team. You already are the best team in the league. You're 15-1. Why would you want Anthony Davis? He doesn't do anything for you.
Because you have a lot of appealing pieces that are not going to be able to get time or you're going to be able to probably keep. You've got a ton of top draft picks still coming up. Why not take a gamble? Because you can't. You are the best team, but you can't stand still and have him
Sure you
anchor
can.
that second unit.
Sure you can, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And there's nothing broken in Oklahoma City. They're dominating the league. They dominated the league last year. They have a point differential of 15.4, which is the best in the league. Okay, and they are 15-1. I'm not touching that roster if I'm Sam Presti. I'm not touching it.
Fair enough. That would be a bold move.
You can't get any better. Well, you could be 16-0, but you really can't get any better. I mean, no, I'm not touching that roster. All right, let me give you another team. Minnesota. Because they're good, but they're not like championship good, right? If Anthony Davis were healthy with Anthony Edwards, and I don't know what you would have to give up to get AD, but like, what about that?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Because I think Minnesota has at a much lower level because they have much better players. But between Randall and Edwards, we've watched them a couple times this year. The ball sticks, Grant. It's not like those two play a lot off of each other. And can you imagine the pick and roll between Anthony Edwards?
Let's go one more team who's on their last gasp, their last breath of air, the Golden State Warriors.
I'd go for Sabonis first.
Yeah, I would too. Yep, I don't disagree with you on that. So again, we're just throwing things out there. But right now, the Cavaliers in the third, they lead the Pacers 83-70. The Nets are in Boston, and they have a 64-55 lead, a minute gone by in the third quarter. Raptors lead the Wizards by 10 at the break in TO. Heat are in Chicago, and they have a 44-35 lead over the Bulls with 3.5 gone by in quarter number 2. The Pelicans lead the Mavs. 3 minutes left in the first, 28-22. Good game coming up in Phoenix tonight. The 10-5 Timberwolves against the 9-6 Suns. Nuggets, who the Kings play tomorrow in Houston. The Jazz, good luck. They're at home taking on the Thunder at 15-1. Portland and the Warriors, 6-9 Portland, 9-8 Golden State. So that is your NBA schedule, along with the Clippers, Hornets, Knicks, and the Magic coming up on this weekend as well. A lot of fun, man. A lot of good stuff. So, in summary, it's been a wild week, right? We've talked a lot of Kings. I've given you my opinions, my thoughts. I appreciate all the feedback with the phone calls, the text messages, on social media. I don't know what the tone's going to be on Monday, but I can't imagine it's going to be very good. But I do hope this. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. I look forward to being back with you on Monday. Don't forget, tomorrow on YouTube and X, the post-game show after the Kings and the Denver Nuggets. For Joe Davidson, always love having him on. Rhino in Sacktown. I'm Grant Napear. Thank you so much for listening to the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Business owners